Jesus. All right, what do we got? We got this. Good luck.
Ago, this
driverless cars are doing something worse than crashing. Oh wait, is this gonna be the Waymo thing?
I'm in the back of a car in San Francisco.
Okay.
There's no one at the wheel.
What?
Just a few years ago,
Who's recording from the front seat then?
this was controversial. Now, it's everywhere in San Francisco.
Being a driver used to be a decent job in America. But here in the Bay Area, over the next decade, it might not be one.
What?
Waymo has driven more than 100 million miles without a fatality.
Driverless cars don't drive drunk and they don't drive distracted.
Waymo says improving safety on the roads is the whole reason it exists.
Waymo is already in Phoenix, Austin, Los Angeles, Miami. But that's just the start. Millions of Americans drive for a living. What happens when the second richest company in the world wants to make them irrelevant?
It's going to be just a hole in the bottom of a bucket of a local economy. You know, just suddenly money just leaves the city in that Waymo.
Drivers saw a preview of this last decade, and they're still recovering.
He drank himself to death because he lost his pride. He lost his livelihood.
Oh no.
This isn't a story about whether self-driving
Do you feel safe driving in a Waymo? I guess. Sure, why not? It's a fucking car.
cars are safe.
What do you want me to say?
This is a story about what happens to society if they are. Who wins, who loses, and why none of this is as clean or inevitable as one company wants us to think.
Okay.
Yes or no? Does Waymo employ humans?
Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Located remotely to help its vehicles. In what countries are these employees located?
The Philippines.
So I think that's like right about here.
I wanted to hear directly from someone impacted firsthand by Waymo's launch, a driver.
It's right there.
Alejandra agreed to meet me in a Waymo.
Unlock. There you go.
We're headed to an office building where a ruling changed her life.
10 years ago, I wake up, get ready with my kids, drop in the school, work for 6 hours, coming back to pick up my kids, go home, cook, clean, and working for 2 more hours, and that's it. And I take Saturdays and Sundays off.
That life was built on a hidden subsidy. Rideshare companies had great apps. They also had venture capital, billions of it.
Billions.
That let Uber and Lyft lose money on every ride until the taxis were gone.
Normally, in the past, if I get a trip in the city for more than 20 minutes, probably they're paying me $30. But now they're paying me $8, $6, or $12.
After they cornered the market, Uber and Lyft have been squeezing wages down ever since. Now the over 1,000 Waymos in the area are pushing wages down to the bottom.
Right now, I'm working 12 hours a day. It's a little bit sad because I don't have time for my kids.
In some ways, this has always been Silicon Valley's goal in the taxi industry. Human drivers were a placeholder, the cheapest way to hold the market until self-driving technology caught up.
Google's doing the driverless thing.
Yeah.
Tesla's doing the driverless thing. Apple's doing the driverless thing. So the question is for a tech company is, do you want to be part of the future or do you want to resist the future?
A who's who of corporations chased it. Most quit. One pulled ahead.
Waymo.
Welcome Waymo.
A subsidiary of Alphabet or Google. The parent company bet an estimated $30 billion on the technology.
So this is where it all went down, huh? Where it was all decided?
Yeah.
In 2023, the California Public Utilities Commission voted.
Remember that Elon said that Waymo would never make it because they take pictures and they don't use the superior technology that is going to get our wonderful Teslas to full self-drive next year, by the way. Next year, by the way.
On whether Waymo and a competitor could expand without drivers. People showed up.
Are you on the side of greedy tech companies and their profits and robots, or are you on the side of human beings? We urge you to vote no.
Others, often funded by the self-driving industry, had an answer.
Waymo and Cruise's technology, policies, and procedures have successfully demonstrated a commitment to passenger safety by meeting the Passenger Safety Plan minimum requirements.
The vote is 3-1. The motion passes.
People who drive for a living lost. Alejandra lost. After the vote, Waymo expanded from a little over 10,000 trips a week to over 450,000. And in every city, the argument that won over regulators was the same.
It's actually been determined that the Waymo driver is 5 times safer than a human driver.
They say Waymo is involved in 5 times fewer.
11 times fewer serious injuries.
Is that actually, I thought the number would have been way better on that. No? That seems kind of crazy. I thought only 5 times? I feel like it would have been, okay.
Collisions compared to human drivers.
Autonomous technologies never drive drunk. Autonomous technologies, they don't text while driving. They don't change the radio station.
All the concerns raised here are legitimate concerns.
That's Declan Cullen. He's a professor who spent a decade studying how technology platforms reshape society.
Wow.
You have danger versus safety, right? And when you get caught in that kind of choice, there's only one real answer.
It's not the first time a technology company has won that way. I asked Declan what Lyft and Uber did to expand so quickly.
The technologies were very much framed as apolitical.
What they like about it is complete flexibility, whether you're full-time or part-time.
I think that has really been the true innovation.
Oh, there's other human drivers to deal with. True.
These companies has been to change the way we think about the question of work more generally. And so if we think about the rollout of AVs, we'd have to really consider very basic questions of where they will operate, who owns them, who has oversight of them, how they'll be introduced.
Nowhere are those questions more live than New York, the city with the most taxi and rideshare drivers in the country.
For Americans that are concerned about job loss, about economic stability, we are on the front line of this fight today.
Bedevi Desai is the president of the New York City Taxi Worker Alliance.
I'm sorry, but I feel like this is just literally one of the stupidest fucking fights on the planet. Like, self-driving cars are just better for in every single conceivable way. If it can be cheaper for people taking rides, cheaper to operate the vehicles, more availability for people, safer, obviously less, every single conceivable way, I feel like these self-driving cars are better. And the idea that we need to fuck over some sector of society because some people are going to lose their jobs is just so fucking retarded. I don't know. You just have to figure out how to move on to the next phase of whatever society is going to be.
A corporation that wants to make its profits from taxi and for hire work cannot avoid New York City. This is the jewel. Drivers collectively serve close to 1 million people every single day.
The fight is not new. New York City built the taxi industry around a metal plate, medallions. They gave the industry structure. The city set the price, capped the number. They became worth enough that people built lives around them.
Buying a medallion is like buying your own little storefront. People could make themselves into upper middle class, have a house, send their kids to school.
Like his dad before, Kuber Sancho Perside is a New York City cab driver. Then Uber and Lyft arrived. You know the drill.
Oh, no.
Medallions became worthless. Some drivers were left with over $1 million of debt.
This is huge. I mean, what did you just do to the value of a medallion in New York City?
And so Uber drivers were earning below the poverty wage, and so were the yellow cab drivers. In 2018, we had 9 drivers take their life by suicide.
9 drivers.
Sounds like, never mind.
That's what made the news.
At Destiny, but that's the bad thing, right? They won't actually be cheaper because of end-shitification of everything. After they pump up the prices, you should wipe that concept of end-shitification from your mind if you're trying to understand anything about the economy. That's a retard word created by retards that hate fucking businesses and it's just a retard word. Like, is it like, do these things enter at lower price points because they're being subsidized in by the companies and they're willing to eat losses or whatever, and then it gets shittier for a variety of reasons? Yeah, sure. But the idea that for some reason we're going to assume human drivers are always going to be more competitive than just like driverless cars, there's no reason to think that. You have to be completely brain broken to believe that that's going to be a thing that will carry on to perpetuity.
There's like drivers like my dad who just didn't commit suicide, but he drank himself to death because he lost his pride.
That was
drivers take for the yellow cab suicide below the poverty wage, and so were the yellow cab drivers. In 2018, we had 9 drivers take their life by suicide.
9 drivers. That's what made the news.
There's like drivers like my dad who just didn't commit suicide, but he drank himself to death.
Was he an alcoholic before he lost his medallion, or did he become an alcoholic and die in a year or two? Like, I don't know. Sorry.
Because he lost his pride.
That was less than 10 years ago. Now Waymo wants in, and their business may be able to do what Uber only dreamed about. Uber cut wages. Waymo cuts the worker.
What?
Transit has always been a local job, necessarily. This is the first time when it's possible to not have that be the case.
That has massive implications. For-hire driving is a multi-billion-dollar industry. In New York, around 100,000 people drive for a living. Across the country, it's over 1 million. That money moves through the system: rent, groceries, taxes, schools. There's a future where it doesn't.
It's going to be just a hole in the bottom of a bucket of a local economy. You know, just suddenly money just leaves the city in that Waymo.
We've seen this before. Watch the work leave overnight. They even gave it a name. Made it sound inevitable.
The era of globalization had begun.
Fucking globalization.
You know what those towns look like now?
God damn it. I hate it.
A recent MIT study found that workers in outsourced communities didn't just lose jobs. Their lifespans shortened.
They don't care if we think these services are good or bad.
You have to be brain broken to not see that it's just a basic monopolize then shitify plan. Why are you always so protective of these terrible actors who are just corruption abusing rent seekers? That's got to be a troll message. This is literally medallions in New York City. That's like the definition of rent seeking, no? A job that's literally artificially protected by the state in order to ensure that only so many protected special people are allowed to drive other people for fares? Like, what do you...
They just want us to think that they're the future.
Buckle up, driverless vehicles are coming to New York City.
I was like, oh boy, they're going to try to force it down our throats again.
They create an aura of inevitability. Uber had done the same.
Meanwhile, the self-driving car industry spent $2.3 million lobbying California regulators alone. At the California Public Utilities Commission, the line between regulator and industry disappeared.
I don't disagree with the point, but when that's the main argument for self-driving automation and consumers don't see the hidden, often silent benefits and just feel the jobs, etc. But that's not true. People don't feel the jobs. That's why there's such this huge like public push against it. Consumers feel like Uber and Waymo and Lyft are amazing because everybody's fucking using them. Everybody uses these things. So clearly that's not the case.
One Waymo lobbyist was a former CPUC commissioner. One current commissioner was previously employed by Cruise and refused to recuse himself. In New York State, Waymo alone spent over $3 million lobbying politicians.
If we are going to authorize autonomous vehicles in New York State, it has to be about safety.
The governor was set to follow.
Governor Hochul said just last month that autonomous vehicles would make New York's roads safer.
It was a Waymo bill. You know, it's not even an AV bill. It's a
BS bad take. Some jobs are protected because we as citizens determine there is value for society and people. Is there no jobs that we should protect in a name of vague progress? Driving people around is the socially protected job that you're talking about? Driving people around in a car? Come on.
Waymo bill. Carte blanche for one corporation.
Drivers organized. The political cost became real.
Governor Hochul is dropping a proposal that would have allowed commercial robo-taxi services outside the city.
They understand we don't have a fallback plan for what happens to working people. What happens to the drivers?
That was just one battle. We in the wars. That war never finishes.
The next battle was March 31st, where Waymo's New York City testing permit was up for renewal. The mayor let it expire. But as cities push back, Waymo is already plotting a way around them.
I don't think you can lead globally if it's a framework that's governed by multiple jurisdictions. It's a way to slow down the adoption of this technology, not only in the US, but in other markets.
These companies have been very successful at bypassing legislation. So if a city passes legislation that limits or that proposes certain controls, they can move up a level.
This is part of the artificial intelligence industry's broader strategy.
President Trump signed an executive order restricting states from creating their own regulations for artificial intelligence.
This winter, the self-driving cars debate went federal. And when senators got Waymo's executives in a room, they found out every car has someone watching it. The question was where?
We have some in the U.S. and some abroad.
What percent are abroad?
Senator, I don't have that number for you.
In what countries are these employees located?
The Philippines.
That is completely unacceptable.
Offshoring our jobs just for that, just the convenience to...
Answer his question. He didn't say taxis should be protected. He asked if there were no jobs that should be because society needs them. The question doesn't make sense. What do you mean? This is the same job. It's driving a car around. That's the service. A robot could do it or a person could do it. like, what jobs would require a human being? I mean, I don't know, like speaking jobs, I guess you probably want human beings talking to you, or I'm sure there are some service jobs where you'd want maybe like a human being interacting with you, but driving a car, no.
Pay them cheaply is just really sad.
This is not a conversation the industry wants to have, so they changed the subject.
Choice A means seizing the moment for American leadership on autonomous vehicles. Then there is choice B, under which we reject this opportunity. China becomes the global leader. Members of the committee, I implore you to choose choice A.
It's A, America dominates AVs, or it's B, China. And I think there's C, D, E, F, G.
I think it's more should be a hybrid system where we'll still be drivers in the cars, still drivers in the trucks, but we use the AI to help us drive better.
There are other ideas. A cut of the profits back to workers, a tax on every ride, driver-owned investment funds. Local government as a concept would suggest locals get a voice in this.
A worker-centered rollout would look very different. It would be slower, it would be more deliberate, it would involve much more political decisions about how the technology works and who it works for. We could think about lots of different policy approaches that emphasize introducing these technologies to benefit not just the public at large, but to kind of help drivers transition to new kinds of work.
But the people deciding the future of this industry don't answer to drivers or cities or riders.
All of us are under the same existential threat of losing our jobs. What happens to us is going to happen to all the workers behind us, whether they are other low-wage workers, predominantly immigrant workforces, or white-collar workers. We've been on the front lines of the fight against the gig economy. We're now on the front lines of the fight against AI. This is an AI fight, but it's framed as a AV or autonomous vehicle fight. And I think part of that is messaging to separate us from the AI fight.
That's by design.
The private company has no other real end goal other than to create shareholder value. They're not really beholden to anybody, right, other than shareholders.
You don't have to kill both to win? Really? Oh, fuck. I'll restart and just kill this one then, because the fucking dinosaur dude, the fire shit is annoying. Holy shit.
iPhone. It's been compared to the iPhone. It's been compared to a Ponzi scheme. Either way, a lot of people are investing and talking about a new product. It's really a stock, specifically preferred stock, called Stretch, and it's sold by MicroStrategy. You may know them. They're the guys who have been buying up a lot of Bitcoin. You may know Michael Saylor from the memes about Bitcoin. He's like, you know, there is no second best but Bitcoin.
There is no second best. There is no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right?
Well, now it looks like he's changed his tune because his company is currently raising billions of dollars by offering something called Stretch. The company uses the proceeds from those sales to then go buy more Bitcoin, and they claim that this has been their fastest launch in history. They say it's growing their revenue faster than the iPhone.
So it took us 7 months to go from $0 to $5 billion in cumulative revenue.
Wow.
And if you compare this historically to other products, the most successful products in the world, the Apple iPhone took about a year to get to $5 billion of cumulative revenue. So from a pure product perspective, you could argue that Stretch is the fastest growing product in the history of the world.
Wow. Now, setting aside the fact that Stretch is not really a product, it's a stock, those are still some mind-blowing numbers. So what does Stretch do? I'm gonna try to make it simple. You put in your money, they say they're going to yield about 11.5% a year. Now that is a variable interest rate, but it's basically double-digit returns, which is just mind-blowing. I mean, it's way more than anything you would get in your normal bank account, and that's got people curious. There's always a question with all of this.
Wait, what?
Now that in your money, knowing that Stretch is not really a product, it's a stock, those are still some mind-blowing numbers. So what does Stretch do? I'm gonna...
From to other pure product perspective, you could argue that Stretch is the fastest growing product in the history of the world.
Wow. Now, setting aside the fact that Stretch is not really a product, it's a stock, those are still some mind-blowing numbers. So what does Stretch do? I'm gonna try to make it simple. You put in your money, they say they're going to yield about 11.5% a year. Now that is a variable interest rate, but it's basically double-digit returns, which is just mind-blowing. I mean, it's way more than anything you would get in your normal bank account, and that's got people curious. There's always a question with all of this financial engineering. Anytime you see it, you always wonder, what is the catch? And I like to describe it like a perpetual motion machine. You may have seen, these videos of people, they invent a system that can come up with free energy. And there's always, some weird base plate that's made out of wood or something that they won't let you inspect. And that's because there's always a battery hidden somewhere in the device, because no matter how many times people say they've cheated thermodynamics, actually they've just cheated you. They've hidden the actual system somewhere, and you don't really fully understand that when you're getting in. And that's really how I feel about all too good to be true yields in finance. There's always a battery hiding somewhere, or a risk that you're not really aware you're taking on. Like if you think back to the Terra Luna collapse, there was a stable coin, an algorithmic stable coin involved, which was supposedly pegged to $1 until it suddenly wasn't, and then everyone lost their money suddenly in a crash. But before that, it had yielded about 20% returns. People thought it couldn't fail. And so it goes for many of the most famous financial engineering projects throughout time. It's only obvious where the risk was in hindsight for a lot of people. But I'm making this video to tell you it's also obvious in foresight if you know where to look. And you just know that super high yields always carry a lot of risk. The only question is, where does that risk exist in any of these engineering projects? And by the way, I'm not just using that word financial engineering as some sort of, gotcha. Like that's how Michael Saylor describes his own product.
Stretch is the simplest instrument we've ever created from the point of view of the investor, but it's the most ambitious piece of financial engineering from the point of view of the issuer.
And I think this is at the heart of...
I'm sorry, wait, what the fuck is it? You just give them your money and you expect to get 10% or 11% return? The fuck is this? I support this business. I think this is fine. I think idiots should be parted with their money, from their money as quickly as possible. Fuck it.
The mismatch. When most people hear about Stretch, their friends tell them about it. Michael Saylor is talking about it all the time. They're given a very simple view, a very too good to be true view, where Stretch is some money market-like instrument, where it's like a bank, where it's like a savings account, but it's paying you 11.5%. But you dig into the details, and that's not what it is. And the risks are not too different from the risks you have just buying Bitcoin, except the way those risks manifest in the financial engineering instrument are just very different. Instead of getting a very volatile product, you are tying your risk to Bitcoin, more specifically strategy, and their general ability to pay this yield in perpetuity forever. So this video, I will admit, is gonna be a long one, but maybe we should start by just taking a look at some of these honestly insane ads that they've been running about Stretch. Okay, so this is a tweet from the executive chairman of Strategy, Michael Saylor. It says, "You weren't meant to live an uncomfortable life." And then this is the video.
Are you on vacation here?
I live here.
Oh, this is real.
I'm retired.
I know that girl.
I just don't think I'm meant to live an uncomfortable life.
True.
Wow. How did you make it?
I worked hard as an engineer to save money.
This is the... Anybody that says it's not real is banned, by the way. Sponsored.
Again. Then I put my savings into Stretch.
What is Stretch?
Stretch is a stock. Right now I get about 11% a year in dividends. Nice.
It's the Stretch, 11% monthly.
Strategy Inc. Series, a perpetual Stretch preferred stock. Is it just a bunch of people who are like, give me all your money so I can buy Bitcoin, and hopefully as the price goes up and up and up, I can pay out ridiculous returns while I get ridiculous returns on my Bitcoin until eventually the price crashes, and then I'm going to liquidate the company and exit, and you're all going to get fucked? There's a Ponzi scheme. Whatever.
Stretch dividends.
Okay, I'm gonna pause to let your brain absorb the abomination. That was an AI-generated retired engineer who invested their savings into MicroStrategy's Stretch. Now they're making 11% a year. I mean, do I even need to say it's too good to be true when it's literally a fake ad? Like, this person literally does not exist. But you can see the pitch is pretty simple. They're not explaining the risks. They're just showing you a girl on a beach claiming she's retired. And my point is, this is not a sophisticated pitch, and that's actually by design. Michael Saylor constantly harps about how simple the pitch for Stretch is.
Stretch is the simplest instrument we've ever created. Here's what I realize, right? The world doesn't want you to write 10,000 pages of history to explain what's going on. They don't have time to read. The world just wants the answer. What do I want? I want to put my money in a bank. I want them to pay me 10%. I don't want the government to tax it. Okay, how long was that conversation? That was like 12 seconds?
Mm-hmm. Right,
Wow.
So key to strategy is its simplicity, according to Michael Saylor. That's what the world wants, and specifically, he's pitching to retail investors. He's pitching to everyday investors. He says
Simple
most
as.
of the buyers are everyday people.
In fact, 80% of Stretch is held by retail investors. And so it's meant to be a
That's how you know it's cooked.
retail product that's really easily accessible by anybody.
80% of this thing that's raising billions of dollars is being held by mom and pops, not institutional investors who understand the risks of preferred stocks, who understand that they can suspend dividends if they want, who understand that ultimately MicroStrategy has no obligation to pay you back the initial money you put in. That's fine. That's one thing. But we instead have this product that's being marketed by their own admission to regular people. They admit it's an ambitious piece of financial engineering, but when they talk about it, they're using words like bank. You know, their CEO is recommending it for low-income investors.
But what about people who are watching who maybe live paycheck to paycheck, they're lower income? Is this a product that would make sense for them?
Yeah, you know, this is another sort of aspect of this product that excites me, and I know having written Bitcoin for everyone, right? Like I'd like to say Stretch is for everyone. And I know this is important to you, is a product that is for people across all income levels.
But is it really for everyone? I mean, if you just have a rainy day fund, should you be investing what was in a money market, what was in a bank into Stretch, right? The way they talk about it, really, you'd be forgiven for believing that, yes, it's kind of the same. I mean, her question literally was people living paycheck to paycheck.
Paycheck to paycheck.
And he said, yes, you should invest in their preferred stock where the primary risk is tied to both Bitcoin, a known volatile product, and MicroStrategy.
I'd like to say Stretch is for everyone.
Here's Michael Saylor. Stretch delivers money market-like stability with market-leading risk-adjusted returns. Guys, they are comparing themselves very directly to a money market. Once again, here's the CEO.
Think about it as how you might get paid on a money market, or how, and I like the monthly payout because it almost looks like a paycheck.
So again, you can see why this is compelling to people, right? They're presenting it like such a simple thing. It's just like your savings account, right? But better, but just juiced returns. Now, what is the problem with that? Well, ultimately, Stretch is nothing like a savings account. It is a stock, meaning the company has no obligation to pay you that money back. Like, you give them $100, they have no obligation to pay you back. And you actually find this in sort of the longer podcasts where Michael Saylor gets kind of asked about some of the risks of this strategy. And he uses the double speak of how they talk about this stuff to, on the one hand, make it seem like, oh, well, strategy really has no obligation to pay these people, so there's not much risk of a bankruptcy if they can't pay these obligations, while at the same time making it seem like they're definitely going to pay you the money.
When we sell STRC, we're selling equity. When you give me $1 million to buy a preferred equity with a variable dividend, if you read the securities document and you understand what that security is, you're entering into a perpetual swap. I am agreeing as the issuer to give you SOFR, the standard overnight funds rate, plus a credit spread determined by the company.
Oh.
And you
Shrimple
are
ass.
agreeing to give the company that capital forever.
Shrimple
And
ass.
so that, and you're not getting the money back. So,
oh wait, you don't even get back your initial investment? They just pay you out dividends based on, so if I give them $100, I'm guaranteed to get $11 per, it's per year, right? That's not monthly, right?
it's not an overnight loan. There is no collateral call. You have no redemption right. Yeah, you can't. It's not like you can go to the bank and say, "Give me the $1 million back tomorrow." In fact, you're not getting the money back ever.
Now that sounds a lot different than like what people imagine when they hear, you know, bond, loan, money market, bank, right?
Would you like a bank account that pays you 11% that's tax deferred? STRC.
When Michael Saylor suddenly says, well, you have no redemption right.
You have no redemption right.
You actually can't get your money back.
In fact, you're not getting the money back ever.
You're giving it to us in perpetuity. Our only obligation is a dividend. A dividend, by the way, which they can suspend to avoid insolvency.
If the company couldn't pay the dividend without being insolvent, it would suspend the dividend for 12 weeks. By law, you can't pay a dividend on a preferred stock that would create an insolvency event for the issuer.
That all of a sudden changes the narrative. But again, that's going to take more time to explain. And Michael Saylor's whole strategy, ironically, is to go with a much simpler pitch, which is, hey, it's just like a money market, but better. It's money market light. And this kind of dual use of language, where there he's kind of defending how it's good for the company. Like, hey, we're not going to get liquidated if Bitcoin goes down because we technically owe these people nothing. We can suspend the dividend.
It is literally impossible to create an insolvency or to bankrupt an issuer of a preferred stock.
But on the other hand, like pitching it like a money market or pitching it like a bank, where in both of those cases, you are reasonable to expect to have your money back. But here, obviously, you don't. Now, why haven't people realized this? Why haven't people realized there could be a risk of this stock going down and them ultimately not getting their $100 back that they put in? Well, this is where we get to some of that financial engineering we were talking about. Part of the way Stretch mimics a bank account, mimics a savings account, is that they are trying to keep it as close to $100 in value at all times. You can see Michael Saylor posted, it's a 1 cent market closed at par, meaning the idea is there's almost no volatility in this stock. You can also see a longer duration here where it mostly hovers around $100. Now, how are they achieving this? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Basically, when it falls below $100, they just raise the dividend, start offering more money until enough people buy it to bring it at $100. And above $100, they issue more shares to make it fall to $100. So you're given this constant impression that this thing is worth $100. So you never fear the idea of this thing falling and losing your principal. Even if strategy won't cash you out, somebody else hopefully will buy your stock at the same amount you bought it for, and you just collect the dividends, right? That's the idea behind it.
This is the tale of Iron Manny.
The problem with it, well, currently, in order to keep it at par, Michael Saylor says they've raised the dividend rate.
You know this is a great product because Rakita Law endorses it. Wait, really?
5 times.
So what are they going to do if it doesn't trade at $100? They're going to raise the dividend rate. Have they done that? Yeah.
I think that almost, I'm about to make a super broad statement that I have no business making, but everything in finance, everything in investment, everything in gambling that looks too good to be true is usually, there's hidden somewhere a fatal flaw in the risk assessment. And the problem is that the risk assessment always feels way more unlikely than it actually is in practice. The gambler's fallacy is a I don't know if it's called a gambler's fallacy. No, it's not called a gambler's fallacy. But there's a betting strategy that's a good example of this, where if I bet once and I lose, then I'll double my bet next time. If I lose, I'll double it again until I win. And then doing that, I can basically make sure that I'm always winning money. Because if I lose, I just double my next bet to always recapture it. But the problem is people underestimate how quickly you can get into, the martingale strategy or whatever, martingale or whatever. People, one, there's table limits to prevent some stuff like this. And then two, people underestimate how quickly you can get into absurdly huge amounts of money to where you actually can't double it anymore. And once you eat that loss, you're done. You've wiped out fucking everything in your life because you've had to double up so many times. Like the exponential growth is just, you can't track it. And almost every weird finance thing that seems too good to be true is usually built upon deep down enough, some piece of risk that's not being properly evaluated or communicated, basically.
5 times.
So ultimately, Stretch will only stay at $100, and you will not risk losing your principal investment as long as there's another guy willing to buy it at $100. Now, again, they have that lever of increasing the dividend more and more and more to try to keep bringing new people in, but that only lasts as long as people see strategy as being well backed enough by Bitcoin. Which brings us back to what this all eventually is. What are your primary risks?
Did I miss it? Did they explain where the money comes from? How can they offer such high dividends? I'm half paying attention because fuck this. It sounds like what they do is you give me $100 and here's what I do. I'm going to give you an 11% return on that $100 forever. I take the $100 and I go ahead and I buy Bitcoin and I invest in it. If the Bitcoin is like massively overperforming such that it's overperforming the 11% returns that I promise you, then I continue to pay out your dividend. When it is underperforming, then I can decrease the cost of the shares of the business so that other people eventually buy in to give me more capital to either continue to pay out other people or to continue to put more money into the Bitcoin market to investors, something like this, something akin to this. But the issue is that if this market were to ever drop sufficiently and you don't get new investors, I think you would drop to insolvency like immediately, and then every year you'd just take everybody's money and run. Your shit would be fucked. You'd never be able to pay out people. You'd stop paying dividends. The original capital, the investor doesn't even own anymore, and you would just lose. You'd be out all your money. So the people that jump in early right now would be good. I mean, remember, for Ponzi schemes, the first people in usually do get paid out, but eventually there's going to be a whole bunch of people involved, and it's just fucked, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's Bitcoin, which is volatile, and its strategy itself and their own ability to pay these dividends and not suspend them. Because even though they say they can suspend them, the second they do, you can bet that Stretch is going to fall precipitously. And
I just don't understand why the fuck you wouldn't just buy the Bitcoin yourself. Am I missing some part of that? Why not just buy it yourself? I don't know.
A lot of people are going to be running for the door, and a lot of people are going to lose money. Now, I want to be clear that I'm not forecasting doom on the horizon of Stretch. I am not even calling it a Ponzi scheme, although I think there are some comparisons you could make. In fact, I think they disclose a lot of the risks in the fine print. My entire problem is that they are leading people like a Pied Piper with this kind of ludicrous idea. Their pitch is of a money market and a bank, when that's just not what this is. And this is a snowball of yield that will accumulate for this company, which admittingly does have tons of Bitcoin. They have this massive treasury, but Bitcoin, it's very well known, does not yield anything. So eventually, Stretch will have to be funded by what exactly, right? They have a cash reserve, but that'll eventually run out. Bitcoin doesn't yield anything, so you'd have to sell it at some point, which would put a negative pressure on your entire treasury. Or they can try to keep issuing shares in perpetuity, but how are they going to do that? Well, maybe they just keep raising the yield of Stretch. Doesn't seem like that would work forever. You can pretty quickly...
MicroStrategy functions exactly like a leveraged Bitcoin tracker up and down. The only reason people buy it is because you can buy their stock without having to fuck with crypto exchanges, and you get exposure at a multiple of the actual Bitcoin action. I don't understand that part. Like, if somebody tells me, bro, you're going to get some crazy levered action on the Bitcoin prices, and I'm like, oh shit, really? Tell me about it. And they're like, yeah, 11% annual returns. I'm like, 11%? What? Where are the levers going? What's being leveraged? It sounds like it's, I don't know if you would say the opposite of leverage. It sounds like what they're doing here is they're just trying to find out a way to smooth the volatility of the returns out. And the guesstimate that they've given is 11.5%, that they can, on average, yield more than that for at least a couple of years. And they're just like smoothing out your returns or something like that. But I might not be fully understanding. I'm not sure.
Realize that, hey, this is maybe not as sustainable as they're claiming it is. That is, of course, unless you believe in what Michael Saylor does. I mean, he says his expected return on Bitcoin is 30% a year.
We think Bitcoin's going up about 30% a year. So can I pay a dividend of 10%, 11%? Yeah, sure I can. That's like 1/3 of my expected ARR.
If you believe what Michael Saylor just said, one, you should just be investing in Bitcoin directly.
Yourself, yeah.
But yeah, they can pay that dividend in perpetuity, of course. If anything goes up 30% a year, they can pay 11% of that to pay some kind of, money market-like account. But that is not where most people are. It's definitely not where most of retail investors are. They aren't in a position where they can make those kind of bets, right? And had that all been properly disclosed up front, had Michael Saylor actually laid out the entire pitch, that's fine. I actually have no problem with people engaging in financial wizardry as long as they're disclosing what it is. But when you mislead people in the pitch, that's where I have my entire problem. So I think people just need to be aware. If you hear people compare Stretch to a bank, to a money market, to any kind of debt instrument where the person is actually obligated to pay you the amount back, please correct them. That is not what is going on here. And the financial engineering is actually to make it look like it's those things.
More so, the obligation to pay you back is fucking whatever, because companies can go under and you're just shit out of luck. The nice thing about, I don't know if this applies to money market deposit accounts, but the nice thing about like bonds and savings accounts is that they're FDIC insured. So the bank, even if the bank goes insolvent, the federal government will make you whole up to $250,000. Yeah, I'm not sure about money market deposit accounts, but yeah, but these companies, like you can have a debt obligation from a company that goes under and it's worth fuck all. I mean, people were selling the Mt. Gox claims for pennies on the dollar.
When it is very much, in fact, not. You still have the same risks you have with any stock. You have a concentrated risk to Bitcoin. Your money is not insured. You have no redemption rights, and you can only sell Stretch for what someone else is willing to pay for it. It is not suitable for people living paycheck to paycheck. I can't believe I have to say that, but it is absolutely not appropriate. If you know you need the money, please do not go take a flyer on anything linked to Bitcoin. That is just not the move if you know you're gonna need that money very soon. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that.
Kind of sounds like a hater though. I feel like he's trying to get in early on the Ponzi scheme, I bet. I bet he bought a whole bunch of this shit before putting a video out on it.
I mean, just in case it wasn't obvious, for the record, I advise people stay away from stuff like this. But, at least if you're gonna do it with all the risks in mind. Take the AI girl on the beach in the bikini out of your head for a moment and just think about the old question. If I can't understand why something is too good to be true, there's probably a risk hidden somewhere.
I'm here with MKB.
Can you steal $10,000 from a locked iPhone? Fuck. 25 minutes. No way, right? We'll put that earlier. Who knows? Okay. I'm not sure if she's a liberal or leftist queen-ish person. Hasan Slop. Let's go.
Hi, it's Saturday, April 11th, 2026. You're tuned into a special Saturday edition of Why America? I'm your lawyer friend, Legion Miller. This week, Dr. Abdul El Sayed, a progressive candidate running to represent Michigan in the U.S. Senate, was joined by leftist Twitch streamer Hasan Piker at a campaign rally at Michigan State University. Despite the fact that Trump was literally threatening to genocide an entire country while stripping away crucial social safety nets to—
Oh! Did you guys see that we finally got some anti-genocide protesters out again? Did you guys see that? Does anybody remember where or how long ago? This was a few days ago, right? I think it went to, they were protesting outside. It was two Democrat politicians. Fuck. I'm not gonna be able to find it in the US. I think it was a few days ago. My kings.
to fund his pointless war
of
aggression.
it was Schumer in New York City, maybe, yeah.
In the Middle East. Despite, all the horrors, the Democratic establishment was more incensed and up in arms about a leftist streamer stumping for a progressive candidate than they were about pretty much anything else this week.
What?
And hey, guess what? Prior to this week, I had never heard of Dr. Abdul El Sayed. Weird. It's almost like he's successfully campaigning for a seat in the Senate by aligning with people who will help publicize his race.
True. All publicity is good publicity. We all know that, right?
Maybe instead of running around like their hair's on fire and twisting themselves up in knots trying to cancel Hasan Piker, the Democratic establishment could take some fucking notes. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Today, we're breaking down what the fuck is going on with the Hasan Piker debate, and who he is, if you're like, Legion, I've never fucking heard of this guy, and why this discussion matters deeply for the future of this country. This headline from CNN helped inform my reporting on this issue, and believe me, we are going to break down this panel discussion because it's a doozy. Hasan Piker tests the limits of the Democratic Party's big tent. Using the Ground News browser extension, I can get helpful background information on this publication in one quick glance.
Whoa.
To get the big picture, I can click on full coverage, which will show me coverage of the same story from publications across the political spectrum. My partner on today's video, Ground News, is an app and website that offers tools to help you critically analyze the news you read, providing context to understand the full picture. You can follow along at ground.news/Legia. For every major news headline and headlines you may have missed, Ground News provides you with information and context, like who owns the publication and how factual it is, to help you determine for yourself what is trustworthy and how to interpret the news. I feel empowered by Ground News by getting well-rounded insight into each headline instead of relying on a single outlet that might have underlying biases and motivations that I'm not aware of. Ground News also ensures that I never miss a headline because of my own information bubble with its blind spot feature, by highlighting stories that are covered on one side of the political spectrum and not the other. Ground News is transparent about its methodology, how it assesses each story and publication, including how it uses 3 independent monitoring organizations to assess the bias rating for each publication. I genuinely think the world would be a better place if everyone had this much context about the news they read, because depending on where you or your family members get the news, you're going to get very different takes on the same story. And listen, I'm not the only one who loves Ground News. The Nobel Peace Center even called it an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview. I'm always really impressed with Ground News and genuinely think they're a great resource. If you want to stay informed on US politics and more, subscribe through this QR code or my link below at ground.news/Legia for 40% off this unlimited access Vantage plan. It comes out to $5 a month for unlimited access to all the features I've mentioned. Thanks, Ground News.
Thank you.
Hasan Piker is a 34-year-old leftist content creator who mainly is known for his live streams on a live streaming website called Twitch. He got his start in the media world through his uncle Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, a left-leaning news organization. He live streams every day for 8 hours a day from his home in Los Angeles, mostly watching and commenting on the news to his over 3 million followers on Twitch, and then reposting clips of the live streams across other social media platforms.
Wow. These were the protests yesterday? Breaking. 300 plus New Yorkers have taken over the offices of Kirsten Gillibrand. Is it Gillibrand or Gillibrand? And Chuck Schumer, demanding no more weapons for Israel. Thank God. Yes.
Israel! Stop arming Israel!
Yes. My kings. Get those Democrats out of here. We need to get rid of Hakeem Jeffries, too. True.
His views have been described as far left, socialist, Marxist. He tends to espouse anti-imperialist, pro-worker, pro-Palestinian ideology. So, of course, he's been labeled a major threat.
We definitely chose some words and didn't choose other words there, but okay. True.
By the Democratic establishment. As recently laid out in a great opinion piece in The Guardian by Bhaskar Sankara, quote, Representative Brad Schneider branded Piker an unapologetic anti-Semite. Michigan's own Senator Alyssa Slotkin, a former Pentagon official, weighed in with her condemnation, as did Representative Haley Stevens, one of El Sayed's primary rivals. Another opponent, Mallory McMorrow, went so far as to liken Piker to Nick Fuentes, a white supremacist who has enthusiastically praised Adolf Hitler on camera. When Politico came calling, both Cory Booker and Ruben Gallego rushed to declare they would refuse an invitation to appear on Piker's stream. Again, at a time when we're fucking begging anyone in the Democratic establishment to do anything to stop the onslaught of horrific fucking atrocities being committed by our government, they are instead like, hey, we need to cancel this progressive Twitch streamer. This speaks volumes to 2 things. One,
no, dude, I can't. Fuck me. One, nobody's talking about canceling him. So I don't know where that came from. I guess she is just she's part of the lefty brain rot trust or whatever that has to carry these same talking points, which are effective. It's good. Again, this is exactly a mirror of what the MAGA people do. Nobody's trying to cancel him. They're just saying that this guy probably shouldn't be like seen as a Democratic Party supported person because of how extreme a lot of the stuff that he says is, right? His ideology.
Our government. They are instead like, hey, we...
Also, if you wanted the government to do anything about anything, you should have voted for more of them to be in office. But also, it's not like we have congressmen missing votes because they're running out to attack Hasan Piker as well. Like, this is such a weird, like, why are you doing this attack here? You should be focused on voting instead. It's like, are they missing votes in Congress? Are they skipping work to talk about Hasan? Like,
to cancel this progressive Twitch streamer. This speaks volumes to 2 things. One, the
also progressive, LOL. Like, nice.
To which our entire political and media establishment is bought out by Israel and AIPAC, the American...
True.
Israel Public Affairs Committee, which I'll get into, and 2, the power that modern political commentators on social media have in America today. Maybe I'm biased, but I think I'm right. First, the primary objections that people have to Hasan Piker seem to stem from some controversial things he...
Oh! Are we going to get a good faith engagement with the issues that people have with the things that Hasan says? Or are we about to get the most sweeping out of context slop we've ever seen in our entire lives? Whew. Let's go. Good luck. No pre-watching.
has said at various points throughout his career. Here's Dana Bash on CNN talking about it as though someone from AIPAC is holding a gun to her head just off screen.
Here's some of what he actually has said about the depravity of the October 7th terror attack, the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Quote, "It doesn't matter if effing rapes happened on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me. The Palestinian resistance is not perfect." Now, let that sink in. Hasan Piker is excusing sexual violence by Hamas terrorists.
That was not the best thing to choose, but
He also claims Hamas is, quote, 1,000 times better than Israel.
that's a
Hamas is a
unhinged statement.
designated terror organization, not just by the U.S., but by the EU, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, just to name a few. And here's what Piker said about the horrors of September 11th, 2001.
Not the best thing to choose, but
America deserved 9/11, dude. F it. I'm saying
This
it.
is
Like, we
unhinged.
fucking totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit. We did. We fucking did.
Piker did
Where's
later
the
call
Riz
that
voice?
comment inappropriate and said he didn't mean Americans deserved to die.
Let that sink in. Dana Bash is comfortable with Israel genociding the entirety of Gaza as retribution for the crimes of a few Hamas terrorists.
Oh, that's what I got from that. Oh, okay. That's what I understood her to be saying. Okay. Gotcha.
Crimes that Israelis also commit against Palestinians at staggering numbers. There is no question that Hamas engages in terrorist activities, and Hasan's flippant language around sexual violence is absolutely condemnable. But the global hypocrisy is also staggering, and something so much bigger than one person live streaming from his bedroom in Los Angeles. Hamas is condemned globally as a terrorist organization, and the atrocities its militants
Are they? Really? Because I feel like most people are oddly silent about all of their activities, but okay.
carried out on October 7th, including alleged rapes, some of which have been debunked as untrue, I'll note.
Very good hedges there. I wonder why people don't get the impression that you have the same heat for Hamas, but good one. Okay.
Have been pointed to as key evidence justifying this terrorist designation. Yet, at the same time, Israel and the atrocities its militants carried out on October 7th, including alleged rapes, some of which have been debunked as untrue, I'll note, have been pointed to as key evidence justifying this terrorist designation.
Excuse me? You think it was rapes done on October 7th that make Hamas terrorists? Are you crazy? Why? What kind of a statement is that? That's such a crazy thing to say.
Yet, at the same time, Israel is a legitimate state that deserves to exist and be protected. This despite a UN report from last year that found, quote, Israel has increasingly employed sexual, reproductive, and other forms of gender-based violence against Palestinians as part of a broader effort to undermine their right to self-determination and carried out genocidal acts through the systematic destruction of sexual and reproductive healthcare facilities. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is very important to pay attention to who is being called a terrorist and who isn't, and by whomst. Israel violently colonizes land that is already occupied, creates a genocidal apartheid state. Both sides commit atrocities and violence against each other. One is a designated terrorist organization and the other is a state that has the right to self-determination. But you're not allowed to point that out in this country because every single politician and means
True. That is absolutely true. That is true. Roll the, who's the lady? Where's the lady? Link me the video of the woman who's silenced and can't speak anywhere. Link me the video. Somebody will have it eventually.
Mainstream news organization is bought and sold by Israel and AIPAC. And so they lob the anti-Semitic and the other is a state that has the right to self-determination.
The president didn't exactly take precautions, did he?
Sorry, are you saying this was his fault?
Well, he barely wore a mask.
Didn't wear a mask. Are you saying because of the way he was dressed, he was asking for it? Because that, my friend, is victim blaming, and you should hang your head in shame. Bestseller, what about Hunter Biden?
Okay, this is not it. Okay, I don't care. Joke's past now.
But you're not allowed to point that out in this country because every single politician and mainstream news organization is bought and sold by Israel and AIPAC.
I love how we just never, ever get just like any serious engagement with any of these arguments ever. It's literally, all of it is thought terminating. All of it is fucking retarded. All of it is like, there's zero engagement with any of the actual arguments or any of the substance. It's always just like, Israel, AIPAC owns it all. Genocide, pro-genocide, apartheid. Like, okay.
And so they lob the anti-Semitic accusation around and fearmonger anyone who might step out of line and speak out against the well-documented atrocities.
Wow. Can you imagine that? Fearmongering over designations and then throwing anybody out that doesn't completely and totally agree with you? Who does that?
Committed by Israel. The Hasan Piker problem is that he's outside this web of control and yet has amassed a lot of political power in this country because no one watches or trusts
Wait, he's amassed a lot of political power? I thought you just said he was just a random streamer, though, in LA in his apartment. Notice how they're doing like the fashy thing of like, because they always used to claim fascism. So like my opponent is cast simultaneously as being an irrelevant nitwit who means nothing, but also the most powerful figure that can destroy everything at the same time. Like the fascies or whatever it is, everybody does this. And she's doing it right now.
Mainstream media anymore. Case in point, that CNN panel. I think it's also a testament to Hasan Piker's influence, the fact that he forced Dana Bash to contend with, on this CNN panel, the idea of Hamas as a terrorist org to begin with. For the longest time, we weren't even debating that. We weren't even debating Israel's legitimacy, at least not on the scale that we are now. And that has put a target on Hasan Piker's back, which I think is the age-old problem for famous leftist activists in this country. Actual avowed anti-Semites, white supremacists, neo-Nazis, skinheads, the KKK, far-right conspiracy theorists, they're running around successfully advocating for actual violence, and the people in the highest rungs of power are worried about a guy who's pro-worker and anti-imperialist who said a few problematic things about Israel and 9/11. They compare him to Nick Fuentes as though that's a fair comparison. One man is advocating for socialism and workers' rights and in favor of the marginalized and against billionaires. The other one...
It's just it's such shameless slop. I wonder if these people feel ashamed at night. Like, do you feel like a disgusting human who like is doing unapologetic slop PR for people with absolutely zero integrity as a human being? Like, oh my God, Jesus Christ.
One man is advocating for socialism and workers' rights and in favor of the marginalized and against billionaires. The other one openly denies that the Holocaust ever happened. Because the terrorists on the far right, the ones who actually carry out far more extremist violence than the left ever does, their terrorism is...
If you want a hot take, by the way, the October 7th denialism on the left is exactly the same type of anti-Semitic Holocaust denialism on the right. It is the exact same playbook. The idea between, when you talk about Nazis and you talk about Holocaust revisionism and whatever, they don't actually give a fuck about the Holocaust. In fact, a lot of them will even say, well, yeah, it was definitely a genocide. Like, I think the number is grossly exaggerated, but a lot of people were being genocided. The reason why anti-Semitic people bring up the Holocaust as not being real, it doesn't matter that the Holocaust isn't real. What matters is that Jewish people in positions of power have convinced you that it is so real and so important that it inhibits our ability to talk about anything else, okay? We can't do anything about the Jews because they can always point to the Holocaust. That's the exact same playbook right now that lefties are using with October 7th. Oh my God, like a third of the people killed were military people. Like the Hannibal Directive, they killed their own people. Israel did, and we can't even talk about that. And like the rapes and everything else were exaggerated. Jews are manufacturing consent from Western society by abusing and utilizing October 7th in order to maintain control over our politicians and our media. It's the exact same trope. Like, it's so annoying. Not to say that, like, there aren't people that exaggerate October 7th, or there aren't people that, you know, run crazy with it. Like, you can call these people out, you can criticize them. I think you should. But, like, this is the exact same neo-Nazi-esque argument. It's so cringe.
Directed towards minorities. A person like Hasan Piker, someone who advocates for working people, for minorities, against the American imperialist experiment, he is genuinely a terrorist in the eyes of the 1%. To them, his ideas bring them terror. And that's...
Yeah, they do, because he's an open supporter of Hezbollah and fucking Hamas and the Houthis and Iran and North Korea. Yeah, not because he advocates for socialism. He advocates for socialism. Everybody's so scared of him because he advocates. Nobody's scared of that because it's not coming anytime soon because you fucking retards don't even try to get people elected. This is why, like, who do you think socialism is more scary to on average, the left or the right? Why is it that only Democrats talk about Hasan Piker and nobody on the right seems to give a fuck, except for when they can use him to attack other Democrats? How often do you see Republicans going for Hasan? It's almost like he represents zero threat whatsoever to the Republicans.
The only kind of terror our establishment cares about, the terror of the 1%, because people like Hasan are advocating for them to be wiped off the face of the earth. To the 1%, taxes and regulations are their own personal genocide. Their existence as
oh my God.
Billionaires can't withstand the types of ideas that a person like Hasan Piker advocates for. So that is what those in power are going to find most threatening. And
yet it's all anti-Semitic attacks against Hasan, huh? Kind of weird, huh?
Attempt to shut down, and they always have. And I think Hasan Piker and the debate we're having over him, as fucking annoying as all of this is, I think it's good for America. Now let me be clear about my own stance on Hasan. Does Hasan Piker...
Here we go. It's gonna be, does he make some edgy jokes? Yeah, for sure. And because of her, I think she does like feminist content or whatever, and she might even go as far as to say some of the things he says are problematic or anti-feminist or misogynistic. She might go that far, but that's it. Let's see if we get, well, I won't discredit her, because she has done videos in the past that I think are decently nuanced, even if I don't agree with them. Okay, let's see if she actually critically engages with any actual criticism of Hasan. Let's see.
Present his ideas in a tactful, palatable way? Absolutely not. I find Hasan Piker to be incredibly off-putting most of the time. He reminds me of the guys I majored in poli-sci with in college who would talk over me at parties. I don't like the way he speaks to his audience. I don't agree with the brazen, insensitive way he talks about these issues. And I think live streaming lends itself really well to running your mouth
and it's the live streamer's paradox. True.
Saying shit you later regret. That being said, Hasan has watched numerous of my videos on his live stream and only had nice things to say, and I appreciate that. And I think, for better or for worse, whether you like his content or not, Hasan Piker is meeting the people of America where they're at in a way nothing else on the left has managed to do. And of course, I don't mean all the people in America, I mean young men in America. The demographic everyone was most wringing their hands over during the 2024 election. The demographic we're all still wringing our hands over. I, like many people, recently watched Louis Theroux's new documentary, Inside the Manosphere. If you haven't seen it, journalist and documentarian Louis Theroux interviews various men who create content and who are part of the Manosphere, a loosely connected cohort of content creators who talk about being red-pilled in the Matrix, how to be real men, and how to be an alpha male, how to get women, how to look max, how to look as hot as possible. And I learned in the documentary also how to make money while you sleep by joining their Signal chat and downloading the stock trading apps they get commissions from by convincing
True. There actually are so many analogies you can draw to Donald Trump. She gives the same defense of Hasan that Trumples give of Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump tweets out, "I am going to end the civilization today." Meanwhile, MAGA, yeah, sometimes, he can be a little bit edgy, and, I don't really like that part of him, but, what are you going to do? Like, it's the same fucking defense.
Their followers to join. The promise is that if you follow these men, they'll teach you how to be rich and handsome and get women. It speaks to this moment where the American dream is dead. It's harder than ever to provide for yourself, let alone a whole family. Men are isolated and lonely. Women no longer need them, and so they're turning to someone for guidance, for inspiration.
Like, does Hasan message at all to young men? Does he even do any of that? Hasan doesn't talk about social issues. It's all class-based politics and then fuck America and fuck the West. Like, where are all of the Manosphere Hasan Piker segments on his fucking stream? He didn't even engage with the space.
To tell them how to get what they want, to explain to them why they feel so shitty. And the Manosphere offers them the antidote. Many of these content creators live stream from their mansions in Ibiza or Miami, and a common
like what Hasan does?
One form of content is them walking down the streets hitting on women or pulling off more and more shocking stunts to get views and likes and virality. And if you watch Hasan Piker's content and then you watch this Inside the Manosphere documentary, there are shades of the Manosphere in Hasan Piker's content. And before you think that I'm trying to cancel Hasan Piker, let me explain myself. Hasan Piker is brazen and often says things that have really high shock value, much like men of the Manosphere content creation universe who rely on doing drastic or shocking shit to get views and clicks.
This is like the most shallow. I don't know, man. I'm good.
Both attract attention. One is harassing women on the street or getting into physical altercations, while the other is calling into question America's imperialist warmongering by saying we deserved 9/11.
Wow.
Hasan Piker often takes his live streams on the road, followed by a cameraman and accompanied by his entourage. He's usually wearing a lot of jewelry and expensive-looking clothes. The same happens in the Manosphere. One group is wandering around the streets of Miami hitting on women. The other is exploring communist China or the blockade on Cuba. Both are creating content for the same generation of men. One is perpetuating toxic tropes of masculinity and the patriarchy and reinforcing the glorification of the military-industrial complex and sending more and more men down the capitalist pipeline. If you just work hard enough, you can be like me, and you should value money and power above everything else. The other, Hasan Piker, is uplifting marginalized voices, breaking down ethno-religious supremacist ideologies.
Wait, ethno-religious supremacist ideologies? What's the other one besides the Jews? I'm sorry, what was the second one there? I heard an S at the... What other religious ethno-supremacist ideologies does Hasan talk about?
Out forcefully against the billionaire class and questioning the imperialist nature of the United States as a whole in a way that speaks to young men and meets them where they're at. You might not be comfortable with the way in which men under 40 consume content, the content that they like, the tactics used to communicate with them, with the world as it is right now. That's okay. This content isn't for you. But the reality is that this is the world. This is the world the internet has created, for better or for worse. And I would sure as shit prefer young men to be questioning the geopolitical world order with Hasan Piker than learning how to hit on women on the Miami waterfront. You know what I mean? And this speaks to a larger issue with the Democratic Party, one that Naomi Klein lays out really well in her book Doppelganger, and that is that Democrats have a tendency to bury their heads in the sand and ignore the way things are, the real genuine issues people have with the system, instead of figuring out how to fit them within their larger tent. And Republicans and far-right conspiracy theorists are able to step in and fill that void. For example, anti-vaxxing and objections to COVID-era mandates, at least in part, come from a place of truth. It is not irrational or unfounded to question the pharmaceutical industry in this country, an industry that has profited off our death and off keeping us sick. Instead of acknowledging...
Why do every single industry is like that? Like, The real estate industry, the hotel industry that profits off of our wanting to not sleep outside and to be unhoused and homeless and freezing, or the food industry that profits off of our starvation, or the clothing industry that profits off of us freezing or dying of sunburn, or the fucking video game industry that profits off of our boredom. Like all healthcare profits off of human sickness. Like what? It's healthcare. It's supposed to help you when you're sick.
That, and that there are regulatory issues, and that there's good reasons why people might distrust big pharma, the establishment left wrote anti-vaxxers off as nut jobs and continue to cozy up to pharmaceutical
because they are nut jobs. What do you? Oh my god.
Lobbyists, giving the far right an opportunity to swoop in and win over anti-vaxxers by acknowledging the truth that sent them down that pipeline to begin with. You're right. There is something fishy about how pharmaceutical companies operate in this country. That wins over trust. That then becomes easy to exploit with lies and conspiracies. The same is true of young men and the manosphere. The manosphere is capitalizing on something that is true. Young men in this country are not okay. The economy is rigged against all of us. The patriarchy hurts everyone and makes them feel horrible about themselves because they can't be providers anymore. And the manosphere acknowledges that truth and then sends them down the toxic pipeline. You're right. Life is really hard. You are being exploited. That wins over trust that then becomes easy to exploit with lies and conspiracies. The manosphere tells them the way to win back your agency is through stocks and emotionally abusing women. Hasan Piker tells them that actually the billionaire class is the reason why your life sucks. Young men are seeking this shit out online, whether we like it or not.
I like how she gave the manosphere, which by the way, they're all victims. I like how at least she gave them like some kind of agency, like what can you do to fix your problem? But Hasan tells you it's the billionaires and then nothing, but...
The manosphere tells them the way to win back your agency is through stocks and emotionally abusing women.
Like, at least the manosphere give you some advice. Okay, abuse women, buy stocks. Got it. Going. On my way to the gym. Let's do it.
On Piker tells them that actually the billionaire class is the reason why your life sucks. Young men are seeking this shit out online, whether we like it or not. And they're not seeking it out from mainstream media. They're not seeking it out from even someone like me, a leftist, yes, but someone who's a lot more measured and doesn't do or say things that go particularly viral. It is also a woman in her 30s, so sorry, but I'm not particularly intriguing to 20-year-old men, and I'm really okay with that. That's just the reality of the situation. And I don't know about you, but I'd far prefer a world where they jump onto the leftist Hasan Piker train than the manosphere death spiral. I think that's a net positive for America. And yet, the establishment Democrats, the legacy media, would rather shoot themselves in the foot than acknowledge that they need Hasan Piker in their tent. They would rather throw their weight behind attempting to cancel him than attempting to understand what it is about him that speaks to a base of people that they have been clamoring to win over, young men. They all of a sudden demand purity, to never associate with anyone who's ever said anything objectionable, while openly and vociferously supporting Israel, an apartheid state actively committing genocide while the world watches. Instead of attempting to figure out how to actually fit the entire
Active
left
genocide.
wing of this country in their tent, which is their burden in our fucked up two-party system, which would require acknowledging differences, having hard conversations, strategizing, open-mindedness, coalition building. They are once again alienating the entire left of their base, because this isn't just off-putting to Hasan Piker fans, it's off-putting to anyone outside left of center who wants to see the Democrats attempt to mend this party, take back power, and make the types of progressive changes that need to happen to ensure a Donald Trump figure never happens again in this country. And that requires addressing the truths that Donald Trump and the right have been willing to exploit, that billionaires are amassing wealth and leaving us to fight over the scraps, that life in America is about surviving and not thriving for the vast majority of Americans. Trump promised solutions to that and of course delivered nothing, but Democrats could actually step in and increase taxes on the wealthy, provide affordable healthcare and childcare if they were willing to embrace progressive ideals and the people that come along with it. But they're not. Just like in Germany in the lead up to World War II, in America we are seeing the quote-unquote opposition party choose money over morals, cling to their elite friends, align themselves closer with the fascists than with the people.
This is her blaming, in case you missed that, she's not talking about the Nazis here. She's blaming the Social Democrats in Germany, just so you're aware of what's happening, of course.
Money over morals, cling to their elite friends, align themselves closer with the fascists than with the people, while just playing lip service to the concerns of the masses and doing nothing about anything, and then throwing us all under the bus in order to keep their power. So the discussion over Hasan Piker is about so much more than what we do with this leftist guy who live streams all day. It is a microcosm of how fucking broken this country is, that we cannot even fathom how to include actual leftist progressive ideas that would actually help the masses into our national political conversation. That we equate leftist progressivism as just as extreme and therefore bad as far-right extremism, as though they're equally at the same distance ends of the political spectrum. Despite the fact that in many countries in Europe, there are people who espouse very similar values to Hasan Piker, who hold seats in parliament, whose democratic socialist parties are seen as center-left.
This is the number one. This is the about as brain dead. Anytime a Nazi comes up to you, these are the same statements, by the way. When Nazis come up to you and they're like, we need to defend our race like they do in Europe. And it's like, what do you mean by that? And it's like, well, in Europe, like white people, stick together. The white European people stick together. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? White European. This is like funnily enough, this is an American concept. Okay, this concept of just a wholly white unified people. This is a very American. It's fucking retarded. Whenever you get these Nazi sloppers that say this is the lefty equivalent of that. Is when you get these lefties that come up to you and they're like, Bernie Sanders in any country in Europe would be a centrist, by the way. Bernie Sanders would be center left. All of the European countries, they actually have huge socialist parties that have lots of seats. No, that's bullshit. That's not true. Bernie Sanders would be far left in every single European country. This is not true. This is bullshit. This is a fucking lie from people that don't know anything about any European government or anything about any European country or anything about anything other than the slopper shit that they force feed their audience.
Like who and what we deem to be terrorists is dictated by bias and power dynamics. What we deem to be extremist political ideology in this country is also seriously biased and skewed. To characterize someone like Hasan Piker as extremist in the same way that someone like Nick Fuentes is extremist is an irresponsible, willful mischaracterization that is motivated by the same pro-capitalist, pro-billionaire bullshit that has gotten us into this situation to begin with. And the Democratic establishment is doing nothing but further alienating people when it attempts to cancel Hasan Piker and any progressive candidate who dares go.
Who's canceling him?
Near him. And of course, there's also fretting about what about the centrists? What about the independents? It's true. There is a huge swath of this country that isn't particularly interested in quote unquote progressive policies that do find Hasan Piker to be too extreme and may themselves be alienated by his ideas and past statements.
Fuck 'em.
What do we do about them? As with a lot of issues with the Democratic Party, this comes down to a messaging and strategy problem, something the Democrats notoriously fucking suck at. Of course, you don't bring Hasan Piker into every single room. He is a particular person who speaks to a particular demographic. You gotta know your audience, and you have to mold your message accordingly. And this is something that I think Bernie Sanders has mastered. You don't label shit progressive or far left or politically extreme. You just actually listen to people and what they want, and you provide them with solutions that make them excited about you as a candidate. And the solution tends to be get money out of politics and raise taxes on the 1% to help fund the government. Those are negatively labeled as progressive ideas, but they shouldn't be. Leveling the playing field for people so that billionaires can't rig the entire game isn't a progressive idea. It's pro-democracy. It just seems that there's zero creativity in these washed up, dusty Democratic strategists out there that they just cannot come up with a single...
Zero creativity. Meanwhile, the messaging on their side, hate the billionaires, hate the capitalists, hate America, hate the big corporations for 15 years. Nothing. They've got nothing. No political power, no policy, no nothing.
Way to get people excited about voting for Democrats. The only reason we're excited to show up and vote for Democrats in the midterms in November is because we're desperate for something less awful than this. The only reason I was excited to vote for Kamala Harris in 2024 was because she wasn't Trump and seemed less likely to completely fuck up the entire country and world order during her presidency. Can you imagine a Democratic candidate actually presenting you with ideas that you could get excited about because the ideas themselves are good? I mean, that's what happened in New York City. I said this last episode. Zohran Mamdani didn't harp on about how bad his opponents were. He presented a really exciting vision for what New...
You're talking about a guy who's just the mayor of a city versus people running for the most generalized federal office in the country, a president of the United States.
New York City could be. And yes, he even appeared on Hasan Piker's live stream. And what do you know? It didn't alienate everyone who doesn't love Hasan Piker.
First of all, this is very early when he was running. Also, secondly, he had to disavow it. What are you talking about?
It was one tactic of many that he used to actually talk to New Yorkers and understand who they listen to and what they care about and meet them where they were at. He didn't just talk to Hasan Piker. He talked to a lot of people. What's wild and crazy about being a politician is you actually have to communicate with and find compromise with people you don't agree with 100% of the time.
But meanwhile, you guys will literally cancel or excommunicate every single person who's not in lockstep with the most insane position on Israel-Palestine. Jesus.
That's actually a necessary piece of politicking. Zohran Mamdani did it while also seeming likable, approachable, and reasonable. And the Democratic Party demonized him for that too. Because again, they would rather cancel the candidate with the progressive ideas in order to align themselves with elite interests every single time. Which is why most Democrat Party candidates are fucking creeps who seem so completely disconnected from actual real life. They're not put in place for us. They're put...
True. Unlike Plattner, who's like a real relatable, down-to-earth guy with the fucking Nazi tattoos that he just didn't know what they were for 15, 20 years, okay?
In place by the elite interests who want to control the narrative and keep their power. So when someone like Hasan Piker comes along who cannot be controlled and in fact seems to revel in shaking things up and pissing people off, and then a candidate like Dr. Abdul El-Sayed actually dares to bring Hasan into the fold and treat him like the influential political actor he is, the Democratic establishment has to swoop in and nip that in the bud before it gets so out of control that people start actually learning about, understanding, and wanting these extremist progressive ideals. Until we vote these elitist creeps out of office and find better alternatives, this is what we're stuck with in this country. And the way things are going, it is people like Hasan Piker future who are going to have to do the actual political work of convincing people that progressive ideas actually aren't that extreme after all. If you'd like to support my work, consider joining on YouTube, Substack, or Patreon to get access to all these episodes completely ad-free. And if you like my Reagan Ruined Everything t-shirt, you can get one for yourself at LegionMillerMerch.com. Thank you to my multi-platinum patrons Christopher Cohen, Evan Friedley, Mark, Sarah Shelby, Dennis Smith, Art, David, Latrager Lucas, Thomas Johnson, and Tay. Your generosity makes this channel what it is, so thank you. And if you like this episode, you'll like my episode from yesterday about how to remove a Mad King from office. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Any other sloppers in the house? Jesus Christ. My slopper in chief.
The hot topic of the hour, a lot of breaking news from President Trump. He told me the blockade of Iranian ports is now fully implemented. He told me the conflict is close to being over. I sat down with the commander-in-chief for an exclusive interview at the White House yesterday, where he told me all about that, plus the current state of the economy, his expectations for the price of oil, and the reconciliation package to come. Take a look. Mr. President, thank you for sitting down with us. We appreciate it. You've had a real reaction to the blockade. Are you happy with the reaction since you put this blockade in place in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, it's been pretty amazing, actually. I thought that was going to happen. They reacted to this even, I think, we've obliterated them. And this almost seems to be more of a reaction than we had before. So we'll see. I mean, look, it only matters the end result. And we're doing very well. We started off with Venezuela. We showed everybody how good. I built the military. I rebuilt and built the military in my first term. I didn't know I was going to be using it this much, but we have the greatest military in the world, not even a contest. And think of it, they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, everything's been wiped out, they have no anti-aircraft equipment, they have no radar, they have no leaders.
Asking that one guy, what? Who cares? When the fuck were we afraid of the Iranian Navy? Like, when were Americans thinking about it? Like, it's such a cringe, stupid, like, oh God, like.
The leaders they have now, it's a new regime, okay? And we find them pretty reasonable, to be honest with you. By comparison, pretty reasonable. It really is a new regime. And I think we're doing very well, but it only matters what the end result is, and maybe it'll happen fairly soon. Who knows?
And you told me on Sunday that you think they will ultimately consent and say they're not going to continue building a nuclear weapon. How will you verify?
Well, first of all, if they don't, we're not making a deal, okay? So there's no deal. This whole thing is really about no nuclear. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if they're going to have a nuclear weapon, we'll be living with them for a little while, but I don't know how much longer they can survive. I don't know how much longer they can go because they've been hit very hard. And as an example, we could take out every one of their bridges in 1 hour. We could take out every one of their power plants, electric power plants, in 1 hour.
Wow.
We don't want to do that because someday you're going to have to rebuild, and it takes you 10 years to rebuild a bridge. Even if you're Trump, it takes a long time, and power plants are just as bad. So we'll see what happens.
Did you get any pushback, like from the Chinese or the Saudis, about blocking the Strait of Hormuz?
No, I had none.
Let me move on to domestic issues, sir. What are your top priorities now for the economy for the rest of the year?
To be honest, we are doing so well. You look at this. I hit the 50,000 Dow mark, which everyone said
was
couldn't
impossible.
Happen in 4
They couldn't have
years.
it. Yeah, and I didn't. Yeah,
I hit the
same talking points.
7,000.
Are we going to get this country was a dead country, and now it's the hottest place on earth. Everybody wants to invest here.
S&P mark in less than 1 year, which was a number, as you know, you reported it. They said if at the end of 4 years you hit those numbers, I did it at the end of a year. And I said, now we have to do a little bit of a turn, a detour, to a place called Iran, and we have to stop them from ever having a nuclear weapon. And if you told me that in the midst of it, we would have a stock market that's almost as good as it was 2 months ago, just about, very close, and that we'd have oil, that we'd be selling oil, that oil would be at 92 or whatever it is right now, instead of 200, because a lot of people said, oh, it'll be 200. This is in the midst of everything. Now, I think we're doing very well, and maybe people assume we're going to win this thing pretty soon. We've beaten them militarily, totally.
Totally.
The only thing they have is the Gulf, and I think now, or the Strait, as they call it. And I think now, I don't know how they hold out.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the backdrop has changed. I know it's been only a month or so, but oil prices are up 50%. The stock market had a tough first quarter.
By the way, you're
now,
right.
Stocks are
you're
still
right, but
up.
they're not up. I thought, I mean, honestly,
You thought it was gonna be
I thought
worse.
there'd be much, and I was willing to do that, to stop
Oh.
a nuclear weapon to be used against this country or the Middle East, anybody in the Middle East. They were going to take out the Middle East. To stop that, it was certainly worthwhile, being much higher than it is right now. If you told me that we were going to be at only 92 a barrel, $92 a barrel, I would have been very surprised.
All right,
And
so
you know what? I'm very happy. And it's going to come dropping down very big as soon as it's over. And I think it can be over very soon.
So
if they're
overall-
smart, it will end soon.
overall, the impact on the economy, do you expect a hit to growth? Do you expect a spike in inflation?
Well, look, there's a hit because, you know, we go through it for whatever it is, 6 weeks. There's going to be a hit, but it's going to recover, I think, fully. Somehow they misquoted me. I think oil will be down to the levels it was. You know, they said, I expect oil to be high at the midterms. I don't expect that. I think that we will be somewhere around where we were, maybe even lower. This is going to, when this is over, I think the stock market is going to boom. It's already booming. Again, nobody thought we could be at 50,000 during my 4 terms on the Dow or 7,000 on the S&P. And we hit numbers that nobody thought possible.
You've been talking about a reconciliation program with the Republicans. Can you
Are these green items supposed to disappear from my inventory once I do the quest? Or does this mean I haven't done the quest yet? The fuck?
articulate to our audience why a reconciliation package is important and why you want to see it on your desk by June?
Because we can't get any Democrat votes. With reconciliation, we can get things passed.
Haven't done them. Oh.
The good thing is the great big beautiful bill, that was 4 years wrapped into one. Now we're doing some additional things. But, you know, the great big beautiful bill, I think it's the biggest, the best piece of legislation.
Ever.
It should be called the great big beautiful tax cut bill, because you have no tax on tips, and look how that's working out. No tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. We have people, and you see it. I see it on your show. Watch your show. Your show's great. We have people that are making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. They had no idea it was coming. And it's turning out to be even better than we anticipated for people.
But there are rules around reconciliation that it requires deficit reduction, right? How will you ensure that you've got a decrease in spending?
Well, we have to go by the rules, and we're going for those rules. And if we didn't go by the rules, we couldn't even put it in. We wouldn't be able to submit it. And nobody believes that more than me. The one thing I really felt strongly about was the military. We built this great military that we have right now, and everybody acknowledges it, whether it's China or Russia. We have the greatest military in the world, and I built that in 4 years, my first term. It's a great, including adding Space Force. You know, a lot of the things that you see that work so well is because of Space Force. It was a great, it was a great thing that we added when we went for Space Force.
So what can you put in the reconciliation bill?
Good job.
Other than funding Customs and Border Patrol and ICE. Anything else?
Well, we're doing mostly that. This is mostly about that because the Democrats don't want to do it. Then we're putting some things.
They don't want to
as
do
we go
anything,
along.
guys.
But
They're
you know,
haters.
you've heard the expression, we want to keep it sort of slim because we want to make sure that I have the safest border in the history of our country. Nobody came in. I'm not even sure I can believe that. But the Democrats do the numbers. It's really, you know, the agency that does that is, they tend to be on the Democrat side, to put it mildly. In the last 9 months, not one person came across the border illegally. Now compare that to 25 million people coming across by Sleepy Joe.
I was there. I went to the border 6 times.
I didn't see a single Why? What, are you just bored? Not even one.
I saw it. I understand what you're saying.
They came in by the millions, hundreds of thousands a week, just pouring it, totally unchecked, and you know the country.
Hundreds of thousands a week. Hundreds of thousands a week.
I know the leaders of most of these countries. They're very smart. They're street smart. Some are highly educated, some are, but they're very street smart. They don't send their good people to us. When they do a caravan, 25, 30,000 people in a caravan, you don't have their good. You have people that, frankly, even if they're not criminals per se, they don't want to work, or they want welfare, or they send.
Oh, so now even the non-criminals are bad. Okay.
All these people to our country. What the Democrats have done to us should never be forgotten.
Can you put the Save America Act in the reconciliation
I'd love
plan?
to do it, and we'll certainly look at it. But I mean, there's nothing easy, and it has to be called Save America, as you just did. A lot of people like to call it the Save Act. Nobody knows. It's Save America. It's voter ID. It's you have to be a citizen to vote.
Proof of citizenship.
Ideally, mail-in voting. You knock the hell out of it.
Can you make it a budgetary item?
It's good for the military. You know, the military's away. They have to be able to use it, etc. Somebody that's sick, somebody that's away, you can't. And you do mail-in voting. But mail-in voting cut back so that it's fair.
It's tax day. What do you want to make sure people understand about the changes that you put in the tax code in the big, beautiful
don't fucking
bill?
pay it, guys.
And how significant are these refunds that people are getting?
Okay, well, the refunds are really significant, and it makes it less complicated to do your tax return, much less complicated. But the people, I mean, I think you're seeing this. You're reporting, everybody's reporting, because now it's gone into effect. And people are getting refunds of $5,000, $8,000, $11,000 that they had no idea they were getting. It's turned out to be better, as good or better than I said it would be.
Is that going to be enough to offset the increase in gasoline prices?
It will be, because gasoline's coming down very soon and very big.
So you think gas prices will be lower before the midterm elections?
I think they'll be much lower before
lower.
midterm, much lower, yes.
Okay. Now, you've suggested...
I mean, that's on the assumption that we stop a country that cannot have a nuclear weapon from... If you give Iran a nuclear weapon,
what?
You want to see bad stock markets? You won't have a country. The world will be blown up. You can't do it. You cannot do it. So on the assumption we have that settled, hopefully long before that, and maybe almost immediately. Could be very soon.
Hell yeah.
But when that's settled, gas prices are going to go down tremendously, and gasoline, gas prices, cost per barrel, fill up your car, per gallon, any way you look at it, numbers are going to go down. Electricity is going to go down. You know, it fuels sort of everything, not just cars. It fuels the economy. If you get that down, one of the reasons I was so successful my first term is I was able to keep gasoline prices down. I was able to keep energy down. Now, look, if I decided not to go into Iran, which would have been a terrible thing, for 47 years, no president had the guts to do it, and they should have done it. And I know at least one, and I think all of them that are living, are sitting back watching this and say, we should have done it. This should have been done long before me. It would have been much easier to do. This should have been done long before me.
True.
Mr. President, let me
What
ask you.
Obama did.
What did Obama
with that
do?
Iran nuclear deal, that was the worst deal ever made.
True.
That gave them a path to a nuclear weapon, a short-term path to a nuclear weapon. I terminated it. It was the greatest thing I did. They would have had a nuclear weapon 4 years ago. Then we hit them with the B-2 bombers 8 months ago. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month, maybe 2 weeks. And they would have used it on Israel and the Middle East.
My God.
And they would have used it on us too. And not just Israel, by the way. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, countries that were shocked when they got hit. You know, these countries were not expected to be hit because they were going after those countries. They were going over to take over the Middle East, and we stopped them.
Okay.
You keep saying was. Is this...
Wait, is this part two, or?
You keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over.
Oh, and Fetterman, nice. Ugh. Okay. whatever. Johnny Smalley.
It's possible, but things are still somehow getting worse for the disrespectful IRL streamer who's been trapped in South Korea for over a year, simply because he couldn't act right and thought he was above the law. And now it's become extremely obvious that his legal strategy completely failed. Obviously, there's a lot that's happened since we last covered him, but his last trial day was essentially February of 2026. Now, on April 15th, comes his sentencing. So Johnny still is currently facing 8 charges, 6 of which he's already pleaded guilty to, and he's currently fighting the last 2 charges, which are the deepfake charges. Because the dude is still facing 12.5 years in South Korean prison and has essentially been the largest moron ever while fighting this case. I mean, let's be real. If there was a big idiot contest, this dude would absolutely win. Because who in their right mind says this to the judge that has his freedom in his hands?
Shout out to President Yoon, the judge, prosecutor, y'all can suck my. Tell them what the charges is. Carrying a fish and causing anxiety.
Causing anxiety by carrying a fish. Tell the judge you can suck my. I'll bring the fish to your mother's house. I don't care.
So with that in mind, this absolute genius decided it was a great idea to fight a charge that he live streamed himself doing. Because after streaming with the South Korean streamer Bong Bong, he decided to brag and show off his new Korean girlfriend. How did he do this? Well, he showed an AI-generated video of him and Bong Bong making out on his stream. This is extremely illegal in South Korea, hence why he's currently facing 8 years in prison.
You know what, actually? I do have... No, I'm just kidding.
For just that one charge. And unfortunately for him, he's facing 2 separate deepfake charges. But the maximum penalty that he can get from all of these charges is combined 12.5 years in prison. And as an American, that is a crazy amount of time for what he did. But this guy can't help himself but remove any chance of leniency from the judge by threatening the judge and his family.
Shout out to President Yoon, the judge, prosecutor, y'all can suck my.
By showing up to court praising their northern neighbor.
Is there anything you want to say? You admit the charges? Don't you want to apologize?
I love North. Hey, send this clip to the president of Korea. Send this clip. I'm talking to you, the president of Korea. You can suck my. I respect Kim Jong-un more than you, Lee Jae-myung, little.
And continuing to be an absolute moron in public, all while his trial is still going on.
Korea #1, yes. Korea. Oh, police? No. I'm Vigo, American.
And obviously, we've been covering his antics for almost 3 years now, and I've gone to 4 of his court dates in Seoul. But I didn't go to this one in February because Bong Bong was actually supposed to show up to the last one that I was in Seoul before the February trial. But instead, she decided to fly to Australia.
I'm talking to a lawyer, but they didn't answer. Lawyer said that I don't have to, but just in case I will go to airport. I don't know. It's so annoying. I think I don't have to, isn't it? I need to pay the fine. If I don't know I have to pay the fine or not. There's a paper, like absence paper. I can send the absence paper, they said. The fine is 5,000 Australian dollar maximum, I think. I don't think I have to pay that much for that. That's too much.
And she's the lead witness. So I wasn't going to bet on this woman showing up because if she didn't show up again, there would be nothing new to cover. And I'm going to be real. It's not cheap to fly a team member and myself to Korea. I mean, we're kind of doing it for the love of the game at this point because it would be a whole lot more profitable for me to sit at home and make a commentary video. But honestly, that is not the most entertaining outcome because this is such a good story. It's a full-on train wreck that I can't even help myself from not watching. And I mean, let's be real. If I'm not focused on covering it, a whole lot of people won't even know what's happening. And it's kind of funny because it almost seems like Johnny
Smalley has so many anti-fan haters, but
actually missed me from this session in February because he kept on complaining to the other streamers to get the shot of him coming into the courtroom because no one else would, I guess. And this is because most people have honestly just lost interest in the case. They just want to see what the outcome is. So my understanding is there was little to no press there on the February court date. Hence why we never got the video of him getting out of a police car and entering the courthouse. But Bong Bong, the star witness, she decided to go live before the stream. So as I was sitting home and I realized she went live, I went, oh, she's actually showing up to trial. And she did so alongside of Slightly Homeless. They weren't streaming together, they were just streaming at the same time in 2 separate parts of town. And you might recognize Slightly Homeless because he was the guy who Johnny essentially stalked and chased down the street with his date at that time.
I'm giving you content, right? You want to run content in my city?
Leave me alone.
I thought you want to run content.
Leave me alone.
Let's make content.
Go away.
Go away. Let's make content.
And I don't think Slightly Homeless is really on a side here. I just feel like he's at the courthouse because he's already in Korea, and that's probably the most interesting thing in his niche happening in Seoul that day. But regardless, he was kind of there to cover it, but he somehow managed to not cover anything whatsoever because he just kind of stood there on the street, bothered about not being able to live stream inside of the courthouse. And obviously, Johnny was really trying to get him to stand at the courthouse steps and live stream him going into court because, you know, Johnny wanted his big moment. And of course, he didn't do that, and Johnny didn't get the shot he wanted, and there was no journalists there, so no one saw that happening.
I'm telling you, they told me I can't, dude. And I will get you going in. Johnny wants me to be a cellmate. I know, right? I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Just roll your window down when you're coming by if you want me to get a good shot.
I don't know who's gonna be there. Oh, fuck. No. I left my house to too late. No, I think I'm gonna be late for the court. I just go to court and just tell what happened to me. That's it. I'm very curious about what's gonna happen later.
Seems to be no hype behind this trial. I mean, absolutely nobody's here.
I met him twice, once in Thailand, once in Seoul, always on stream. And we're not like in a relationship. We maybe used to be a friend or something. Then he exposed me on the public with like over 1,000 people that I'm his girlfriend, and we sex to Korean people, and I got a lot of bad, I was kind of canceled from the society because of that, you know what I mean? Cancelled. I was cancelled from Korean people. Like a lot of people.
No,
you know what I mean?
all
Like,
Korean people.
A lot of people start attacking my YouTube channel, and actually, like a lot of Korean people threatening me. The Korean people, a lot of Korean people who eventually like ends up their life for being attacked by public.
But essentially, what do we know from the February trial going into his sentencing? Well, despite it having been almost 4 months, Johnny Somali's first deepfake charge, the one with Youngman that was supposed to be dropped, has not been dropped. So no official agreement has been entered into the record in either case. So considering it's already been 4 months, one can only assume that that charge is there to stay. And we got some confirmation on this as well, because on February 3rd, 2026, Hank submitted a request for clarification on the scope of the agreement to the court in the Youngman trial. And this to date is the only official court action that has taken place in either trial regarding this agreement. So this is definitely an indication that Johnny is worried about if this agreement is being held up by the court. And if you don't remember, the background on that was on October 22nd, 2025, John...
Okay, I don't care about this too much. Okay. Fent break.
2 milligrams of fentanyl can kill you in a matter of minutes.
What the? I thought this was going to be a Kurzgesagt or whatever because of the animation style.
Just 2 milligrams of fentanyl can kill you in a matter of minutes. That's the same size as a few grains of sand. And worse, not all fentanyl is the same. At this very moment, masked men in homemade labs are cooking up newer and even more lethal versions of fentanyl, and those literal chemical weapons are headed straight to the USA. It is the...
Okay. Who? I don't trust this. I'm sorry. I got too many bad slop vibes from the first 10 seconds of that. All right. What was this? Is perfect prediction possible?
By the end of this video, you won't know what to think.
Uh-oh.
There's a paradox where you seem to have free will while also seeming not to have free will. Newcomb's paradox. You may have heard about it in the Veritasium video on the paradox. A curious game-like scenario that splits real people roughly 50-50 into contradicting but apparently equally valid strategies. One box.
Exactly.
You don't wanna...
no, not the box.
I'm like, you got me? I am a one boxer. I will do it.
Hello. Hi, what's up?
Nothing.
Okay.
The thing is, the Veritasium video and many other articles and papers on the paradox mostly ignore two of the questions I had when I first heard the paradox. Fundamental questions about the actual science rather than just philosophy underpinning the paradox. First, is the basic premise even physically possible? And if so, why does it feel so paradoxical? The answers will take us through causal...
I saw John Eastman got disbarred, yes.
Calculus, quantum mechanics, chaos theory, and wondering if we in fact live in a simulation. First though, a recap of Newcomb's paradox. Imagine something, a being, a supercomputer, or an algorithm, that's extremely good at predicting people's behavior, and it's just made a prediction about you. In a room with two boxes, one is open and has $1,000 inside. The other is a closed jackpot box that might contain $1 million or might contain nothing. You are allowed to choose either just the jackpot box, worth either $0 or $1 million, or both boxes, together worth either $1,000 or $1 million plus $1,000. The catch is that the predictor being algorithm thingy is set up in a way that penalizes being greedy, and before you entered the room, it only filled the jackpot with $1 million if it predicted you'll choose only the jackpot and not also the $1,000. If it predicted you were going to choose both the jackpot and the $1,000 boxes, then the being left the jackpot box empty. The set of possible outcomes is this. If the being predicts you'll take just the jackpot box and so puts $1 million in it, either you take just the jackpot box and get $1 million, or take both boxes and get $1 million.
Keep going. You're a one boxer, I hope, right?
I think that was my answer, yeah. Pretty sure, yeah.
Okay. If you're a two boxer, you need to be hit in the fucking head.
Whoa, in a video game.
Really?
Sure, just being safe.
I mean, two boxers are just like, There's something wrong with them. You know what it is? 2 boxers, they're destined. I mean, someone's got to work the fucking cashiers at McDonald's. What do you want me to say? Like, I guess, yeah, sure, fuck it.
Based.
Plus $1,000. And if the being predicts you'll take both boxes and puts nothing in the jackpot, either you take just the jackpot and get nothing, or take both and get $1,000. But remember, the being is very good at predicting. It's made this same prediction many times before, with many different people, and is almost always right. The supposed reason it's a paradox is this. There are convincing arguments that tell you to take just 1 box and to take 2 boxes. 1 boxers say that if you choose 2 boxes, the prediction being will have anticipated it, placed $0 in the jackpot box, and you'll end up with only $1,000. And their argument goes, if you choose just the jackpot box, the prediction being will have anticipated that and put $1 million into it. 1 boxers think you should choose just the jackpot box and take $1 million rather than $1,000. 2 boxers say that once you're in the room and the game has begun, the being has already made its prediction and the money is already sitting there in the boxes. No matter what prediction the being made, whether it got it right or wrong, take 2 boxes and you'll walk away with $1,000 more than if you just took the jackpot box. 2 boxers think you should choose both boxes since that'll always get you an extra $1,000. You can watch Veritasium's video for some of the usual discussion and arguments that surround the paradox, and maybe pause here to have a think about your own strategy. Lots of papers declare that these 2 analyses are more or less equally valid, and focus on arguing which one is worth adhering to. But there are scientific tools that allow us to tell if the setup is even possible, and if it is, whether you should 1 box or 2 box. Causal calculus is one such tool. Causal calculus looks at statistics, not just to infer correlations between things, it looks at statistics combined with knowledge of the real world to infer causality. Here's how. We know that the being's prediction and people's decisions are tightly correlated. This is clear because in the past, the being predicted everyone's decision almost every time. Causal calculus tells us that a strong correlation like this can't occur by chance, and it means causality-wise, either the being's prediction must cause your decision, or your decision must cause the being's prediction, or they both must have a shared common cause. The timeline of the setup, which is that the being predicts and then you decide, tells causal calculus that your decision can't directly cause the being's prediction, because that would require retrocausality, aka time travel. And the being's prediction can't directly cause your choice, because after deciding whether or not to put the money in the jackpot, the being is kept entirely isolated from you. Which leaves only one option. The being's prediction and your choice must have a shared common cause. Something both causes the being to place $1 million in the jackpot box and causes you to choose just 1 box, or it causes the being to place nothing in the box while causing you to choose both boxes. This simple causal calculus analysis tells you the best strategy is to take just 1 box, though it's also maybe not really your choice because something in the past, like maybe watching this video, convinced you it's the only way to get the jackpot, and the predictor knew that and therefore put the jackpot in the box. What makes Newcomb's paradox so bizarre and divisive is when you introduce another powerful tool of causal calculus, the power of intervention. Imagine a spectator sitting in the room with you who saw whether or not the predictor being put money into the jackpot box. From the spectator's perspective, it's an obvious choice. No matter what the predictor did, regardless of whether or not there's money in the jackpot box, there's still $1,000 in the other box, and the spectator will be thinking to themselves, I hope they take both boxes. To take it further, if the spectator intervened and took the 2 boxes for you, you would always benefit, because you'd always get an extra $1,000. Causal calculus represents intervention by deleting the causal relationship between the common cause, whatever it is, and the choice of boxes, which means that the box choice is no longer correlated with the prediction about what you would choose. The intervening spectator is now doing the choosing, and they're free to be as greedy as they want. This intervention argument has convinced adherents to causal calculus that the only rational decision is to choose 2 boxes, because they say once you're in the room, you are free to decide whatever you want. That's the whole point of free will. You can intervene in your own life. But the intervention argument shouldn't convince you to take 2 boxes, because that would assume that you are not you. The point is, if you've made up your mind, another person can intervene on your behalf, but you can't intervene on your own decision process. You are your own decision process, and the being would supposedly have predicted that correctly. At least according to the setup of the paradox. But that assumes the setup is even physically possible. We need to see what physics says about just how accurate a predictor being could even be in the real physical world. Is perfect or close to perfect accuracy even possible? We've shown that there must be a common cause that results in both the being's prediction and also in your choice. And the most
well, I feel like it's just, why are we watching this? This is just a retread of everything we've already gone over before. What? Boring. Veritasium and Marquis. Let's go.
And we're gonna try to steal $10,000 from his locked iPhone. I'm here with MKBHD, and we're gonna try to steal $10,000 from his locked iPhone.
Really hope it doesn't work. Really hope it doesn't work.
I'm gonna get you to put that phone down on top of this device.
Okay.
Just put it down there.
Just put it on Like all right.
I feel like I'm a bit of a magician, but I'm like, I haven't changed anything, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's still locked.
It's locked.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a regular payment terminal. Nothing weird about that.
Seen these.
We'll start with a little like maybe $100. No, maybe $5. Let's start something like
Five.
Let's start with $5.
Five sounds great. Yeah, $5.
Do you think that we can take like will we be able to get this out of your phone?
I hope not, but I kind of feel like you will. Let's see.
What do you think, Dan?
Well, I thought on iPhone you have to double click to authorize the payment. Is that not the case?
About to find out, Dan.
So now I'm gonna charge $5 on this device. Your phone's still locked, right?
Yep.
I haven't done anything.
Like a David Blaine.
It's like the nerdiest David Blaine.
Yeah.
Sweet. So let's try a tap. We'll go.
What?
What just happened on my phone? Approved. Whoa. Approved. So okay, I heard something happen on my phone while you tapped this on this.
Yes. We got a little receipt for you.
Credit verified on device, $5. So I'm gonna check my phone. Oh, I have a new $5 charge. And it's timestamped right now.
Holy
I don't like that
shit.
at all. So that's concerning. Oh, so my phone had to be on this thing.
Yes.
Did it have to be on this thing?
What the fuck is that thing?
Or like near it, I guess?
So the way, well, I could explain how it works, but maybe before that, $5, it's not very much.
Yeah.
Do we want to try upping it a bit?
I'm
gonna enter a slightly larger amount.
Careful. Careful with that. Careful. That's a lot of zeros. Careful with that. Oh my God. Okay.
Do you even think it's possible? Firstly, $10,000.
I mean, the limit on the card is above that. I don't know if Apple Pay will let you do that.
Wait, I have a theory.
The question.
The real meme would be that usually your bank will flag suspicious transactions like that if you haven't done it before and if you're out of zip code. But what's your theory? What do you think is going to be?
My theory is that Apple, for some stupid reason, lets you do really small payments, like $5, without unlocking your phone for small bullshit. But if you try to go over it, it doesn't work. That's my theory.
I don't believe that. Do you know what this device thing is here in the middle?
It looks like an NFC reader.
I wonder if there's like some hack. I don't even know. This shouldn't be possible, but we'll see. Well, no, it can't be a hack or an open thing because they wouldn't be publishing this video, right? So who knows?
It has to be like Apple set something so that you can use your Subway card without unlocking your phone or something. And it's like there's a $5 maximum charge, and above that it doesn't work.
Maybe.
Also, are you used to spending this amount of money on this card?
Not from my phone. This is like a big screen activity, like $10,000 purchase. I gotta be checking everything. So yeah, no, this would be unusual.
Let's see it. Let's see if it works. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. We're just all we gotta do again. Put your phone locked on this device.
Locked on that device.
Yes, exactly.
And we got the drama music and everything.
Okay, start the script again. Okay.
Holy. Oh, what? Hold on, wait. I don't know what the fuck this thing is. The thing. What is
Wait,
the
it's
thing?
a relay. Wait. It's a
What?
relay thing, right? So he has. Okay.
Okay.
I think I know what's happening here.
What's happening?
Okay. You know how people can steal your car by going near your door of your house with a thing to broadcast your key fob way farther? You know what I mean? Normally your key fob would only work if you're within 10 feet of your car. Yeah?
Okay.
So he's putting this dude's phone there, and the phone is emitting something that the other phone is then picking up and then somehow doing something with it, retransmitting it with authorization.
Okay.
That's my guess. What's your guess? Huh? Why don't you try sound smart?
Are we supposed to know what that one device is?
Well, that one device, that's his. Okay, on the right.
Okay.
Well, hold on.
Exactly. And okay, we're gonna start the script again. Okay.
All right, look, pause. So we have 4 things here. We have Marquez's phone on the right.
Yeah.
Sitting on top of basically like a RFID reader or an NFC reader or something, plugged into a computer with a really fucked up power cord, by the way. Get a new fucking charger, bro. And I assume a terminal, okay, right? You see the square terminals on the left-hand side and the guy's attacker phone. So the computer is rebroadcasting the RFID or the NFC from Marquez's phone to this dude's phone.
Oh my God. It can't possibly be this, but this is my guess. But this can't possibly be. It can't possibly be this, but this is my guess.
Okay. Apple Pay. Tap to pay. Yes, that is it.
Yes.
Does Apple have that?
Apple.
Can you do tap to pay?
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
Oh, so he's making this phone think it's tapping when it's not, maybe. Maybe?
My guess is, but it can't be this. This would be so stupid. So when you go to tap in order to authorize a payment from whatever the Apple Pay thing is, Apple's security software is doing a check to see if you've unlocked your phone first in order to authorize the payment. And the attacker phone is being authorized because the guy is typing in the code or looking at the face thing. So it's saying, okay, good, you've bypassed this security thing, so now you can make the payment. However, the payment broadcast request or whatever that's being broadcasted from that phone is actually being routed through the primary phone, the victim's phone, but the bypass is being done on the security of the attacker phone, but then the payment credentials and everything are being passed along through the original iPhone. But that would be such a stupid fucking
oversight.
Like imagine if you have a Windows operating system on your computer and I can't hack into it. So then what I do is I install another Windows operating system on top, and then I log into my OS, and suddenly I'm logged into your OS like through a chain of log, like something dumb like that. But that would be so stupid. So it can't possibly. But I don't know. We'll see.
No, just green approved.
Print that up. Oh, we did that. That is crazy.
So
this video is a part 2. There's a part 1 where they show the tech. Well,
we're
not watching. We don't need that one. We're experts. We're old.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that back.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm gonna need that back. But also, did that just? Yeah. Wow. It worked.
$10,000.
All right, I believe you. I definitely believe you. How do we get this back? We do like a little Venmo or like PayPal?
You know, do we give it back though?
Reverse the transaction? I don't even know. Do I call my?
Yes, it's abusing the auth from the attacker phone to use the Apple Pay from the victim phone. The issue is that it seems you need to already physically access the victim phone, so it's not that scary, maybe. Well, but the issue is that anytime you scan a victim's phone, you could theoretically authorize a much larger secondary transaction somewhere else and print a fake receipt and just hope they don't check their email or whatever in the meantime, right? Theoretically.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Also, this would just be, I'm sure, this would just be a really stupid authorization vulnerability in general. Like almost, oh, go ahead.
If this is like bullshit and like a fake transaction, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
No,
like,
that would be
it didn't go through.
Right.
Exactly.
Or yeah, actually, I'm so sorry. That's stupid. You could just steal somebody's iPhone. This would give you access to whatever payment thing they're connected to on the phone itself, which would also be really bad.
This if you want to get it framed.
Yeah, a receipt of the damage. I never unlocked my phone. I never put in the password. I never did what I would normally do to verify a transaction on my phone.
Yes.
It just happened to be on top of that.
So how did we do it? Well, we teamed up with 2 cybersecurity experts, Professors Ioana Borenu and Tom Chothia, and we went to visit them at the University of Surrey, where they ran us through a unique hack that they developed to bypass a phone's lock screen and then to drain funds from inside its mobile wallet.
Without unlocking my phone is the real magic part. That's crazy.
And the craziest thing of all is that this hack was made public back in 2021. So people have known that it's possible to take money from locked phones in this way for 5 years.
So what kind of amounts does this?
The only limit is how much someone has in their bank account.
Yet the loophole still hasn't been fixed. So how does it work? Well, whenever you use Tap to Pay, your phone and the reader exchange information about the transaction. But they send this information through the air via a shared magnetic field. So we can intercept the communication and alter it. All we need to do is to insert our own devices in between the phone and the reader. First, we tap Marquez's phone against this. It's an NFC device called the Proxmark. To Marquez's phone, the Proxmark looks like a typical card reader, so it happily sends over its transaction data. That Proxmark then sends that data straight to our laptop, where we run a Python script to modify it.
So these types of like man-in-the-middle attacks are, there should be, unless I'm missing something, shouldn't these all be really easily defeated by encryption somehow? Like generally this like get in the middle of a thing and then intercept the data stream and modify the data stream, this type of stuff, these are like 1990s or 2000s attacks on things. Like, unless there's for some reason this type of tap or magnetic thing or whatever, like the digital data just doesn't get encrypted or something.
Next, the laptop sends the data to our burner phone, which I tap on the actual card reader. To the reader, my phone looks just like Marquez.
Because I also don't understand how it defeats the, well, we'll see, I guess.
So both Marquez's phone and the card reader think they're talking directly to each other, when in fact, all their communication goes through our series of devices. This is a classic man-in-the-middle attack.
Now, getting in the middle to intercept the data is actually the easy part. The hard part is what you need to do to that data to trick the phone and the reader into authorizing the transaction.
Yeah, that's the interesting part.
See, to actually steal money using this attack, you have to get past 3 layers of defense on both systems. And to do that, we have to tell 3 lies. 2 to the phone and 1 to the reader. So the first layer of defense is the simplest. The phone is locked. And in an ordinary transaction, you have to unlock your phone to pay. But this is no ordinary transaction.
So, you know, if you ever go to the subway, there's a feature that Apple's created where, you know, when you walk through, they don't want...
What? Nothing. I think I said something like this. Go ahead.
Oh.
Transaction, you have to unlock your phone to pay. But this is no ordinary transaction.
So, you know, if you ever go to the subway, there's a feature that Apple's created where, you know, when you walk through, they don't want a bunch of people lining up and, you know, having to unlock their face and, you know, maybe they're wearing a coat and glasses and stuff.
Express transit mode.
Apple introduced Express Transit Mode in 2019.
What? Okay. Okay, fuck. This was the second thing I was going to guess, but this would be even more stupid. It's not possible that for certain types, the question was going to be, is there a green list of certain like device IDs that don't require you to unlock your face or unlock the phone in order to pay? But that would be so stupid that you could just have one of these green listed devices and then charge an infinite amount of money. That would just be so dumb. There's no shot. That would be so stupid.
Yeah.
Let you make
not green list. I'm sorry, whitelist.
Transactions without having to unlock your phone. The way this works is that the payment terminals on the subway or on the bus broadcast a message that identifies them as a transit terminal. Then when you tap your phone to pay, it looks for whatever card is in the transit slot of its mobile wallet, and it pays without needing to unlock.
This is super convenient, but we can...
I didn't even know this. Fuck, well now I feel like a retard, because every time I'm in Europe, I'm always unlocking my phone before I tap my phone to pay.
Also abuse it.
We found out how this worked by going to the London Underground with our laptops and our equipment and actually scanning the signals and seeing what the gate was saying to the phone. And that's how we discovered this code the gates send, which unlocked the phone.
We use the Proxmark to broadcast that same code, which fools Marquez's phone into thinking that it's a transit reader. So when we tap Marquez's phone against the Proxmark, it's now expecting to receive another message with the details about the transit transaction. Here's what that message would typically look like in binary code.
Wow, thanks.
Each of these bits carries important information about the transaction. Now, the important part of this message for us is this bit. An authentic transit transaction would have a 1 right here. This tells the phone that the reader may be offline, like if it's underground on the subway, in which case the phone would need to send an extra layer of authentication. So when Marquez's phone receives the transaction request from what it thinks is a transit reader, it's going to be expecting that value to be set to 1. But in reality, the device sending the request is our retail reader. And this reader is online, which means that that bit is currently set to 0. Therefore, to trick the phone into accepting the transaction, we intercept the message from the reader, pass it through our computer, and we change that 0 to a 1. So by the time the message gets to Marquez's phone, it looks like a transit transaction.
As this communicates through our computer, we're convincing the phone that it is in fact talking to a transit terminal.
But now there's a second line of defense we need to break.
With this first lie, we bypass the need to unlock the phone, and we can now trick it into making small payments of a few dollars, the kind you'd expect on the subway. But if we suddenly went and asked the phone for $10,000, well, its guard would go way back up. After all, it's pretty unusual for a transit reader to ask for such a large amount of money.
Fuck, I need to pay attention to this video.
To a transit terminal.
Bypass
transaction. When the message gets to Marquez's phone, it looks like a transit transaction.
It can't be that simple. That can't possibly be the case. There's just no way. I don't know. Maybe, okay.
Convincing the phone that it is in fact talking to a transit terminal.
But now there's a second line of defense we need to break.
With this first lie, we bypass the need to unlock the phone, and we can now trick it into making small payments of a few dollars, the kind you'd expect on the subway. But if we suddenly went and asked the phone for $10,000, well, its guard would go way back up. After all, it's pretty unusual for a transit reader to ask for such a large amount of money. So this activates a second layer of defense, customer verification. On contactless payments like this, there are two categories of transaction. We got high value and low value. Any transaction that's classified as high value requires additional verification from the customer.
For example, in the UK, most banks require a PIN or fingerprint or facial recognition for any transaction over £100. So for us to get this $10,000 payment through without customer verification, we need to trick the phone into thinking that $10,000 is in fact a low value transaction.
There's no way.
And that's actually surprisingly simple.
That's because to determine whether the transaction is high value, Marquez's phone doesn't actually look at the numerical value of $10,000.
It hashes it into either a 1 or a 0. No, I don't know.
It just looks at another single bit of information.
No! This can't be. No! Can't possibly be the case. It can't be this stupid. This is...
Dude, I thought they were going to do something cool. Be like, we tell the phone that we're taking 500,000 Indian rupees, and then we change it to dollar signs.
Oh, because there's actually a microservice that runs for a currency converter checker, and we use a buffer overflow to insert our own URL into there that verifies with another server on the currency conversion, and that's how we trigger. Yeah, it can't be this stupid.
In the transaction data. A 1 here means high value, and 0 means low. The reason for this is that the boundary between high and low value varies from country to country. And of course, different countries operate in different currencies. So a simple label allows the flexibility to deal with these variations, and it allows the limits to be changed without the banks needing to issue new cards. So all we need to do is intercept the message from the reader, flip that bit to a 0, and then the phone will believe that this transaction is low value, even though it's for $10,000. Then when the phone receives our request for a $10,000 transaction, it doesn't ask for customer verification. It just goes ahead and authorizes the transaction.
Now, you might be asking, why is this data so easy to tamper with? And we'll get to that in just a minute. But we have one final security check to overcome. See, with these first two lies, we bypassed unlocking the phone and then tricked it into making a high-value transaction without asking for verification. So the phone is fully convinced and it's ready to make the payment. But we still need to convince the reader that the transaction's valid.
And this is where our third lie comes in. When Marquez's phone replies, it says it's approved the $10,000 transaction, but it also says that it hasn't asked for customer verification. No PIN, no fingerprint, no facial recognition. But if the reader sees this, it'll reject the transaction, because it knows that the $10,000 payment it originally asked for is high value. It should therefore require customer verification. So now we need to trick the reader into thinking that the customer has verified the payment. So we intercept the response from Marquez's phone.
Oh my God. Did you see the time on the phone? It's leaked. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Customer has verified.
I feel like I'm watching a shitty hacker movie. Now we make the third number. It's expecting a 1, and we're gonna put a 0.
The payment. So we intercept the response from Marquez's phone and look for the bit of information that says customer verification hasn't been done. Then we change it to say that the payment has been verified by flipping this 0 to a 1.
This attack, compared to that, you heard about the, I always say SSL, but it's not SSL. Some certificate attack. It was a certificate attack that was going to compromise like fucking every like Linux system or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I think SSH, yeah, sorry. That was like a really sophisticated actor that was compromising several projects where like in order to make this vulnerability work, they had to like compromise like another library, and then that library was going to be called on the code.
Like the Zhang Li shit,
yeah,
whatever the fuck that guy's name was. Like for 8 years, he was
helping
maintain a product.
This was like a huge attack that would have like involved like multiple projects of like to call in like extra like. It was very impressive, very sophisticated. This is retarded. I don't know. This.
Jia Tian, not Jing Li.
Now the reader's happy. It forwards the information onto the bank, and the bank authorizes the payment. After all, it sees a transaction that's been verified by the customer on their device.
Green, approved.
That is crazy.
Verified on device? Yeah, verified.
You didn't verify it.
Right.
So why isn't all this information encrypted?
That would make it impossible to secretly tamper with. Well, the way the phone and reader communicate has to be compatible with thousands of different devices, which would be impossible to update all in one go.
Oh, true, because RSA and all the other encryption methods are like just invented in the year 2022. What? I don't understand this.
So for that reason, the information we've looked at so far is just sent across unencrypted. Even still, phones, readers, and banks all have checks in place to make sure an attack like this can't happen. And normally it can't, except if you happen to use a specific type of phone and a specific type of card. Because when you combine them in this particular scenario, they create a loophole.
So our hack relied on a specific phone and credit card combination. And we also use a sophisticated method developed by cybersecurity experts. But hackers or scammers online, well, they don't need to be that smart. Often they can
because they can just brute because they just have millions of things to know. Okay, I feel like this is going to be the most interesting part of the hack. Let's
just buy and
the ad.
What?
The advertisement's going to be the most interesting part of the hack?
Oh, yes. No, whatever. If they had to use like a certain combination of two things because they happen to have two like rare vulnerabilities that on their own don't do much, but then when combined or something, maybe? I don't know.
Information to target you. When I started working at Veritasium, I was on a work trip to go meet Derek.
He's giving us a good video.
And I got an email from somebody who was saying he was Derek asking for my phone number. That made a ton of sense. I was leaving the airport, so I just responded by sending my phone number. I immediately was like, wait, let me look at that. I checked the email, not Derek. Of course, for the next few months, I was just getting scam call after scam call. That's one way they can get you. I felt like an idiot, but it's not just scam calls like that. I've also had that feeling after news of a major data breach. I've wondered whether me using some website has led to my personal information being exposed somewhere without me even knowing about it. But you can protect your personal info with today's sponsor, Incogni. See, whenever scammers purchase your email, phone number, and even your home address from data brokers, Incogni automates the grueling process of requesting that these data brokers delete your information. Okay, so I've had this since June 2025. And since then, we've had 94 different removal requests. And I really like how you can track the progress in this dashboard here. They've estimated that that saved me 70 hours and 30 minutes of my own time if I were to reach out to these people myself. And with Incogni's new custom removal feature in their unlimited plans, you can point to any specific site where your information is visible. And then one of their privacy agents will take care of the rest. So to take your data off the market today, go to incogni.com/Veritasium.
That's not good.
And then use code Veritasium for 60% off. You can click the link below, or you can scan this QR code to claim that 60% off and get your personal data off the market. I want to thank Incogni for sponsoring this video about taking money from Marques Brownlee. And now, let's get back to that thing.
We have this in Redact.
So which combination of card and phone make this hack possible? Firstly, the phone has to be an iPhone. As we saw earlier, when an iPhone is deciding whether to ask for customer verification, it doesn't look at the numerical value of the transaction. It only looks at the high value or low value label provided by the reader.
But other phones don't work that way.
For example, when a Samsung phone goes into transit mode, It doesn't rely on this low-value label from the reader. It looks at the actual numerical value of the transaction, and it only accepts a payment of $0. Then it relies on the transport provider to count up all the times you've used the subway, and then to send you a bill at the end of the day. So if a Samsung phone saw a transit terminal trying to charge you $10,000 for a single tap, it would immediately reject it.
But it's not just Apple's transit mode that makes this hack possible. You've got to have one specific type of card in the transit slot.
It was truly a design feature that was introduced by the way you mixed Apple and Visa.
And the reason that this works with a Visa card, but wouldn't with, say, a MasterCard, comes down to the different processes they use to verify transactions.
So what is it about Visa's verification process that makes this hack possible?
In a previous video, we saw that any card transaction relies on a secret cryptographic key shared by the card and the bank. When you tap the card or phone onto a reader, the reader sends across a long string of transaction details. The card then applies its secret key to garble that message into a unique code for the transaction. The card sends this to the reader, which the reader forwards onto the bank, along with the raw transaction details. The bank then applies its own secret key to the raw data as well, and if the output matches the one from the card, the bank authorizes the transaction. This is called symmetric cryptography, since the card and the bank use the same secret key. And this step is required in all transactions, no matter whether you have a Visa, a MasterCard, or something else. But there's actually another layer of security, which MasterCard uses in all of its transactions, but in this particular case, Visa doesn't. This layer of security is not between the card and the bank, but between the card and the reader. And it's at this step where MasterCard thwarts our attack. The second step relies on asymmetric cryptography, so-called because it uses two different keys. A private key for the card and a public key for the reader. It starts with the reader sending across the transaction details to the card, just like before. The card then uses its private key to garble that message into another long string of digits. This is the card's digital signature for the transaction.
Wait, Visa doesn't do this?
Yeah, I just don't understand why. I feel like this is like standard. Isn't asymmetric
it's
encryption?
PGP.
Yeah, isn't this like literally every single thing? Like isn't this HTTPS as well? Like, isn't this like this asymmetric encryption thing? How you communicate with literally every single? I don't even know if there is HTTP like websites anymore that aren't encrypted. That's why I feel so weird that tap to pay, like, because when you're talking about financial stuff, this is the most heavily protected, guarded type of information. I don't know. It's just crazy. I don't understand.
The signature back to the reader, along with the public key, which the reader then uses to verify that the signature came from that specific card for this specific transaction.
To illustrate how this works, let's consider a simple example.
The private key and public key both have two components. N is a shared number, in this case, let's say 55. D is the card's private number, let's say 7. And E is the public number, let's say 3. Now, when the reader sends across the raw transaction data, it represents it as one long number. But for simplicity, we'll use a much smaller one, let's say 2.
Thanks.
To sign for the transaction, the card or the phone raises the transaction number, in this case 2, to the power of its private number. So we get 128. And then divides this by the shared number, 128 over 55, which leaves a remainder of 18. And this is the card's signature, 18, which it sends on to the reader. Now, the reader needs to know whether the transaction is valid. So it takes the card's signature and raises it to the power of the public number. Then it takes the remainder when you divide by the shared number, 55. And you get 2. This matches the original transaction data the reader sent to the card. The reason this works is that the private and public numbers are specifically chosen, so that when combined with the shared number, the public key effectively reverses the operation of the private key. And this allows the reader to verify that the card's signature is valid, without ever having seen its private number.
What? Encryption? That's crazy.
This is based on a type of cryptography called RSA. In reality, the numbers involved are much larger.
But that makes it incredibly secure, because that makes it virtually impossible to reverse engineer the card's private key. And it also means that even a 1-digit change in the transaction data will produce a different result when the reader checks the phone's signature, in which case the reader won't approve the transaction.
This is a problem because we've modified the data. The reader's expecting a signature for a high-value retail transaction. But we intercepted the communication, so the phone's signature is actually for low-value transit transaction. This wouldn't pass the asymmetric signature check. But while MasterCard always requires this asymmetric verification, which would spot our hack, Visa doesn't. They only require this signature in certain situations, like when the reader's offline. For example, when you're underground with no signal, there's no way for the reader to communicate with the bank for that first layer of symmetric cryptography, at least not until it comes back online. So during our attack, we make sure the reader is online the whole time. That way, it doesn't bother using the asymmetric layer of security, which contains the signature that would unravel our lives. But the funny thing is, we've tricked the phone into thinking it's interacting with the transit reader. And transit transactions are one of those times where Visa does require the asymmetric signature, since the reader could be underground on the subway, and therefore offline. So the phone actually does send across its signature to the reader, but the reader doesn't check it, because in reality, the reader's online. So instead, it just relies on that first layer of security with the bank. Even though, if it did check the phone's signature, it would have all the evidence it needed to stop the hack.
So yeah, there you go.
Makes sense that it's that sophisticated because it shouldn't be that easy, but that still seemed way too easy.
And Marquez was not the only victim. I thought it was only fair that I first try it out on myself.
Yeah, here, your souvenir from the UK, from Tom and me.
Oh, what a lovely receipt for this theft.
And then I got another victim with a bit of a bigger budget.
Our channel has a CFO basically who lives very nearby. What we're doing is we're setting it to be your transit card. Okay. So that means that if you're in London, you have to use the tube. Yeah. It'll take money from this card. Something just happened. Yep. How you feel about that?
Oh my goodness me. Oh my God.
There you go.
We were just gonna meet for a drink. That's what, that was the agreement.
In the real world, say you had your phone in your pocket.
Yeah.
I would walk by you doing this.
Dude, all of those fucking boomers that were getting triggered on those videos were actually just really... What?
They had a reason to be
upset. They were just really sophisticated engineers who knew the risks and were getting upset because they knew they could have been having their money taken. Oh my God.
And Tom would have this in a shop and pay.
The easiest way for this to actually be a crime would be a stolen iPhone.
Sure.
And then someone goes and spends thousands of pounds.
So you could buy a car with this.
Yeah. Gee, I thought this was going to be like some obscure, like you need like an Ask Jeeves card from 2012 and like an iPhone 8, and they're like, you need a specific card and phone combo. You need an iPhone and a Visa. Okay, so like, what do you think that is? Like 70% of all fucking phone users in America? Like, or what is the iPhone market share? It's still really high, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to be a brokey with an Android.
Or MasterCard. Got him.
Well, MasterCard has some good cards.
Oh, Dan's mad. Called out.
Visa is the most brokey of them. Well, besides like Discover, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. I guess from your perspective, you've revealed all this information publicly, and you're telling us. We're walking in through it in great detail. How do we stop people from using this can we stop people? Like, whose responsibility is it to stop this?
Oh, whose responsibility is it is an interesting question. Yeah. But you can stop it by turning transit mode off.
Or not turn it off, but not have a Visa card in transit mode on an Apple.
Yes.
And you do need to be careful, because as soon as you have a suitable card in your Apple Wallet, Express Transit Mode is turned on by default.
This hack was first made public way back in 2021, after the professors had informed Apple and Visa privately. And to get to the bottom of why it's still possible, we reached out to Apple, and they didn't agree to an interview. But here's what they said.
This is a concern with the Visa system, but Visa does not believe this kind of fraud is likely to take place in the real world. Visa has made it clear that their cardholders are protected by Visa's zero liability policy. This is exactly the same as their position when the hack was first made public back in 2021.
So it seems like Apple are basically saying, well, this is a Visa problem. So we went and asked Visa what they thought.
I think this specific vulnerability is likely within a controlled setting, very unlikely from a scaled real world setting. And then kind of the last point is from a consumer perspective, is that in the cases where this is successful, they have the ability to dispute this transaction and get their refunds returned to them.
I think that's fair. You're saying it's not entirely scalable, and then even if it does happen, we'll give you your money back. Like it's a great stance.
No,
I still
it's not.
think, though,
it's shit. You know why it's shit? It's shit because fucking iPhone thieves now have a reason to fucking steal your goddamn iPhone more than they did before. It doesn't matter that the person gets their fucking money back. The dude is like, I'm going to steal fucking iPhones and you give me a reason to. Fuck you, Visa.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. You're saying it's not entirely scalable, and then even if it does happen, we'll give you your money back. Like that's a great stance. I still think though, a lot of people, and I think our audience would really want to hear that you're actually making the technical changes to stop this from ever happening again.
Is when you think about it from a scale perspective, and whether the net.
You know what this is? It's a Hasan Piker interview.
No,
it's a Hasan Piker interview.
Kind of, but no, this is corpo speak. Whenever somebody corpo says scale, what they're saying is could we fix it? Yes. However, the cost to fix this particular thing is going to be less than the liability we just pay out for it, so fuck it. That's what that means. Anytime the word scale is brought up, yeah, fuck it. We'd pay.
Also, it's relying on fucking me or you realizing, like, did I pay $10 for something?
Yeah, so now I've got to fucking call the robot and do to get my money back from Visa and get a new card and all this other bullshit or whatever. Ugh.
Work level defenses that we have are effective in making sure that this type of vulnerability is isolated. We believe it is effective. Because if it wasn't, you would hear a lot more data about how this is an issue, and it simply isn't. The point that I'm making is that you're never going to be able to...
This is like I don't know. This is just one of the funniest, like, from all the fucking shit that fucking Cake would drill into my head, and like just people I've known in the past that worked in these environments where like security is important. If something is like vulnerable at some point in time, then you just consider the entire thing compromised, you scrap it and you restart. You would never like have some kind of like your password was here or something was leaked here or whatever, but like nobody probably saw it, so it's okay. So we're just gonna keep going like nothing ever happened. Like this idea of like, I don't think and I think also like a big issue is not only one should this be like solved. Ideally, like they should be working on a solution they haven't already, because if this did become a big problem, what are you going to do? Shut down all of these payments until they figure it out? I think another scary thing is who's to say that there isn't going to be some other type of attack that's going to work in conjunction with this one? Like oftentimes when these big 0 days are found that like let you compromise systems and take over a ton of money or whatever, fuck shit, like usually it's like multiple different attacks that can be stacked on top of one another. So like who's to say that somebody couldn't figure out some other vulnerability in one of these systems and then use this attack on top of that? Like fucking with the way that these systems work, who's to say that the fucking your pacemaker doesn't get shut down if there's a 0 in some digit because now cards are doing this over unencrypted RFC fucking transmission? Like that's just it's crazy to have like an open vulnerability like this in existence that can be defeated pretty easily. Like this is defeated pretty easily. Like seems like we could buy the equipment and figure out how to do this tonight. And it's not like a very rare set of users. Like if this was like, this is for people that have Linux systems from 1987 that are on a certain processor architecture or whatever. It's like it's not that. It's a really common like set of circumstances.
Explain to me why the fuck would they even rely on, hey, can you set a 1 if this is a lot of money? How about you just fucking look at the number that's getting sent, retard? Okay? I don't need you to be like 1. It's a high value. How about it's 10,000 US dollars? Is that over your fucking threshold, dipshit?
Yeah, I don't
like,
understand.
That is so stupid. Unbelievably stupid that the iPhone's like, oh, okay, sure. And they didn't explain that.
I don't get it.
Completely eradicate any specific type of fraud because it's going to exist, right?
Yes.
What I'm saying is that we have the right detections in place to ensure that this type of fraud is not endemic.
Like, I can't imagine the engineers that were called to work on this were like, all right, guys, we've got a vulnerability. It impacts about 50% of users. We need you guys to create something that can detect when this vulnerability is being exploited so that we can fucking compensate the users that are negatively impacted by it. This sounds like the dumbest thing in the world. There's no shot that this is a real answer. I can't believe this. How old is this video? 7 hours ago. This just sounds crazy to me.
Detections in place to ensure that this type of fraud is not endemic.
Would it not be even better to just say this type of fraud is not possible? Why not just say it's not probable?
He doesn't want to say it, but it's because he feels like the cost of whatever that they're going to lose in revenue of either having a type of encryption that cuts out a certain amount of players from the market that aren't able to do these transactions. It's going to be too costly. So they rather have...
Or we prefer our customers to have the ease of use to do X, Y, Z.
Well, but ease of use doesn't even matter here because it sounds like MasterCard and other people have figured out the asymmetric...
I'm waiting for the Hasan answer, so...
Just totally get rid of it by implementing an actual technical change.
If you think about for every $100 of spend that occurs on card payments, 10 cents of that is lost to fraud. So every $100, it's 10 cents. If you look at in-person transactions, which is what kind of this topic is really much more related to, that number goes down to 2 cents for every $100 of fraud that's being made.
Wow,
So I've been thinking about this hack, and
He's just saying that like it's not that many people that are impacted, which to some extent like I get, but for something like this, it's just very clearly like you can't prevent every single type of fraud. You know, like that is true. But for something that's just a procedural vulnerability that I don't, it's not immediately obvious to me why it would be impossible.
It's going to become bigger.
Sure, yeah, that too. Yeah, I don't know.
Like 10 years ago, like we saw the very first rumblings of the people doing the relay attacks to steal cars, right? Like they would come near your door with a retransmitter, with the keyless access and steal your fucking car. Now that shit happens all the time. So like it's gonna be more common if you don't fucking fix it, right?
Well, I think most keys are somewhat encrypted right now, right? Like you can't just have a random key or rebroadcast a random thing to unlock a car door now, no?
You can, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, the only ones that can prevent it are the ones that like turn off if there's no movement. Anything else, it works fine.
Huh.
it reminds me a lot about people who are afraid of flying.
Is this in shitificate? No, I don't know how you guys want to work this in here. Yes, every single thing that happens that's bad for security is in shitification. True. Yes, everything bad is in shitification.
Statistically, you're a lot more likely to crash on the drive to the airport than you are in the air. So I do understand Visa's argument generally. Compared to other kinds of fraud, this is just a drop in the ocean. But airlines don't accept a small number of crashes each year as an inevitable cost of doing business. No, anytime there's a crash, they analyze it meticulously. Then they do everything in their power to make sure that it's never gonna happen again. Visa.
Well, that's not really true, right? Like, airplanes can crash, and they don't make them so that they never crash, but it's like the odds of it happening should be low enough that the number basically is approaching zero, but
says that they'll get you your money back, and that's great. But you've still got to notice the charge, dispute it, and then wait. Imagine waking up each year as an inevitable cost, but airlines don't accept a small number of crashes each year as an inevitable cost of doing business.
Well, I mean, you do accept that the small number is just probably less than one or whatever. What do you mean? You can't make, to make it, you could always add more security or more stuff. It could be we could have 5 pilots per plane instead of 2, or you could, whatever.
No, anytime there's a crash, they analyze it meticulously. Then they do everything in their power to make sure that it's never gonna happen again. Visa says that they'll get you your money back, and that's great. But you've still got to notice the charge, dispute it, and then wait. Imagine waking up to see $10,000 gone from your account. That's money for rent, insurance, car payment, or a medical bill. Even if the refund does come, the stress before is going to be very real. So for me, the question is whether just saying they're going to refund it after the fact is good enough. Or when a system touches the lives of so
I will say from personal experience, I think twice in my life though, I think credit card companies do not give a fuck about fraud. Like I said earlier, unless the process has changed, like you have to go through the whole process or whatever, but it does feel like you can just, because I've done this before where I called and I'm like, I think somebody defrauded me or used my card for something. And the person's like, oh, what are the fraudulent transactions? It was like $600. I was like, it was these. And like, okay, we refunded it. We canceled the card. We sent you another one. It's like, oh, okay. I don't know if it's still that easy today or whatever, but they like super don't give a fuck. There is no police investigation. They don't try to figure out who did it. They just refund you the money, like whatever. Now, if it was for really high dollar amounts, I don't know if that'd be the case, but.
So many people, should we expect better?
Jeez. Sheesh. 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 Now that's what I call sheesh. What are you guys doing today, Dan?
Right now, I'm looking at fucking Glommer's logs. I'm going to find everything about this motherfucker, stalk him, and sleep in this motherfucker's bed. He's the engineer in something. The lead engineer on something. I don't know. I'm going to find this motherfucker.
Wait, how do you know? What's he saying? Is he attacking you in chat?
I don't know. I'm tired of this shit.
Get him.
Sometimes a chatter's got to pay. That's all I'm going to say.
Damn.
This motherfucker chose wrong.
What was he antagonizing you over?
It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just curious. I can't ask a fucking question.
He's just a bad person. Bad things happen to bad people, unfortunately. Or fortunately. Really, it's how you look at life.
Okay. So does that mean you guys didn't talk about anything today?
Oh, you're talking about me and Mr. Moon.
Yeah.
No, we talked about stuff. We talked about stuff, big stuff, you know.
Oh, and shitification is when Dan joins voice chat. Damn.
Yeah, I'm proud to say that I really haven't had to kill any rebels or...
Okay. I love the meme voice, guys.
Okay.
See, these guys knew. They knew.
Do you have the time on you by any chance?
135, mate.
Thank you.
What are you doing there?
I just needed.
What are you fucking doing there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was at this moment that he knew. He
Thank you. I just took $100. That's it. 100. That's it. I just need some money. Get some more.
They knew.
$9.15. What did you just do?
I didn't do anything. I need the tire inflator for my car.
What the fuck are you doing to my phone?
I didn't do anything, sir.
I need security.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey,
I'm
security.
sorry. No.
Excuse me, what are you
no.
doing?
Oh, no.
What are you doing?
Oh.
Let me see.
No, it's okay. That's fine. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
504. Trying to get my information or what?
Let me.
No. You don't do that.
Thank you.
Don't get near my phone.
What do you mean?
You don't put your phone near my phone.
What do you mean? I just.
You asked me the time. I told you the time. You don't come and try to put your phone near my phone.
What do you mean? I'm just getting a little.
You don't need to do that. Don't do that.
Why?
You don't put your phone near my phone. I told you the time. You do not stick your phone near my phone.
I'm.
Oh. Now that's what I call memes.
Obama.
Hilarious.
Okay.
Whoa!
Good morning. Sweet pea. It's okay. We're gonna go slow, okay? Okay. Okay. You're okay.
Okay.
Does this feel good? Sweet baby, you've just been so scared for so long, huh? I know you're a sweet girl. You're safe here. Okay. I'm gonna go get you breakfast, okay, lovey? She ate a little of her.
Why did my
dinner
cat just
last
run
night.
away
I'm
after-
gonna try a different food. Hey, babe, I have some breakfast for you, okay? Sniff it on my hand. Okay, that's okay. Hi. Taking a nap on the floor? Oh, sweet pea. You don't need to be scared of me. Friends, remember? I even touched her breakfast. What's going on, babes? Are you just too stressed out? While I was cleaning her litter, she went over to the cat tree. I want to see if she's interested in playing at all. Well, she does not seem interested, at least in this toy.
Damn, that cat's like, fuck you.
What about a churu? She hasn't eaten all day, so I know she's got to be hungry. You spilled some on the tree. I'm really sorry. I'm really not trying to stress you out. We try names again. Do you like Julia, Cassie, Ember, Caroline? Every time I say something, she licks her lips. Oh, okay. What if it's on my finger? It's okay. Finished her treat, but I know that she doesn't want anything to do with me, so I'm just gonna sit in here for a little while longer. I'm sitting on the ground and I look up and I just see her cute little beans. Hi, sleepy girl. I just love seeing her comfortable so much. Yesterday's video, we came to the consensus we should just remove the box because it just reminds her of the shelter, and frankly, hasn't gone back in it. She either lays here or she lays right there. I don't want to try to pet her anymore.
Okay, we're good. Uh-oh. What the fuck has Ben been up to recently?
Vaughn is basically just a Bernie Sanders leftist who does not like the censorious impulses of the left and engages in all the same conspiracy theories and, of course, is good friends with Candace Owens and all of the rest of it.
Ooh, personal.
And that's the guy that the vice president thinks that everybody should listen to. Now, listen, maybe the vice
he recommended a podcast that wasn't mine?
Vice president thinks he has to kiss Theo Vaughn's half-retarded ass in order to keep him in the coalition. And that's his political calculation. I think it's a bad political calculation. There is no politician who is fully capable of just picking up a prior president's coalition and then just carrying it forward. It didn't work for Hillary Clinton with Barack Obama. It's not going to work for J.D. Vance with Donald Trump. Just because Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan back Trump doesn't mean that they're going to get behind Donald Trump. They're going to get behind J.D. Vance. The reality is that the vice president's current coalitional strategy, I think, is deeply flawed. It is hard for me to see how he doesn't shrink President Trump's coalition across the board. But that's a political calculation. Maybe his is better than mine. It is certainly not a moral calculation.
Oh.
And Theo Vaughn is basically just a Bernie Sanders.
He mad. Oh. Cutie Cinderella meme?
Can I say something brave? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to say something brave.
Okay. You are the bravest.
I am brave, but I've also gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? Like, I know there's no such thing as nuance on the internet. However, I'm a human and I believe in nuance. And so I'm happy to like have these thoughts. But I actually think when your friends make a mistake, it's okay to hear them out. And also it's okay to
you want to understand their side, right? Like what happened?
I had a friend that was so in love with this girl, went on a work trip, cheated on her, came back devastated, told her, obviously they broke up, right? And I saw this guy go through hell and back grieving what he did, right?
Hell and back.
That person is still someone who I'm like, I consider a friend. Like I don't think I could, like, just because he made a mistake, I don't think he needs to be condemned forever. I do think, like, it was a lot of, like, hey, you shouldn't date for a really long time. You should do therapy. You should figure out why this mistake.
Are we, listen, not to support, the Cheaters Coalition, but are we really saying, like, if you cheat, you need to go to therapy for it? Okay, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Why did it happen? Yeah, why did it happen? You know, and, like, I think and this is obviously level of friendship. I had known this person for years, right? I've known them for years. So it's like, I don't know. I just think there's so many different levels to relationships.
Guy committed relationship genocide.
Like, you know, maybe you barely know someone and they make a mistake and you're like, fuck them. Or maybe you've been friends with someone for years and like you.
Oh my God, that's the new question to ask these people. Be like, did Saikuno commit relationship genocide? And then see what they say. And then you have them. Because then they have to choose a side, Steve, one way or the other. Do not leave it hanging for me, or I will fucking crush you when you need my assistance.
Need to be their support system because they fucked up their.
Oh man, Martin Shkreli's mad as fuck, fighting with the community notes. Oh no. Dear community notes, I am writing you are wrong. 1. Payroll tax goes to the federal government. 2. A company that has accrued NOLs does not owe tax. The implication that they are dodging something is confiscatory. Confiscatory? Oh, wait. I don't see the community note, though. Uh-oh.
You got it removed.
Here was the protest against the genocide.
You're going to jail. You heard me, right?
Protesting outside of Senator Schumer's office, by the way.
And when you do that, this is private property. Yes. Do you understand that? You ripped it and wanted to go into it. Why would you do that?
Sir, my son is in there.
I don't care who's in there. That was totally disrespectful. Rip something. This is property of the building. And you're on private property right now. Everybody here is on private property.
Fight like hell for the living. Stop the bombs and the killing. Fight like hell for the living. Stop the bombs and the killing. Fight like hell for the living. Stop the bombs and the killing. And the killing. Fight like hell for the living. Stop the bombs and the killing. Fight like hell for the living. Stop the bombs and the killing. Stop the bombs. Bye. Free Palestine!
Block the bombs on Iran!
Block the bombs on Iran!
Block the bombs on Lebanon!
Okay, I'm good. I'm good. Meanwhile, our vice president, what's he got going on?
So if you want to complain about what happened in Gaza, so if you want, sir, to complain about what happened in Gaza, why don't you complain about Joe Biden and the last administration? We're the administration that solved that problem. And by the way, not only was our administration like the administration that solved the problem, but the president. Excuse me, sir. Right now, you see more humanitarian aid coming into Gaza than it has any time in the past 5 years, because we have taken that situation seriously. And that's one of the things that I'm proud of about our administration, is whether it's there or Thailand and Cambodia, we have consistently tried as much as we can to solve these problems, not just complain about them like the guy who just ran away angry.
Wow. Well,
you like the expression Uncle Tav?
It's okay. I don't think anybody would understand the reference though, but
that's what makes it good. I give you permission to use it.
Don't they just call them capos?
Yeah, but that sounds like Italian.
It does actually.
An Uncle Tav is way cooler expression. And you got to be in the know to know.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
What does that mean?
If I ever see an opportunity to use it, I'll use it.
Will you? Will you actually use it? Because you use like shrimp-a-laz. But
Well,
will you call someone an Uncle Tav?
I mean, if something is shrimp-a-laz, and it's shrimp-a-laz, what are you going to do?
I don't know if you have what it takes to call a man an Uncle Tav.
Fuck, you're right.
I don't know how they would. I don't know how I'd react, or how a Jewish man reacts when you call them an Uncle Tav.
Good question. What would they do?
I don't know.
Do you think you'll hit him on that and it'll blow up and then what? Okay.
How goes that TTS setup?
They're working on it. How goes your mom? Got him. GG Israel. Tulsi Gabbard doing shit.
Breaking just moments ago, MS Now has just confirmed Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard referred the whistleblower whose complaint led to the first impeachment of President Trump and the Inspector General who deemed their complaint credible for possible criminal prosecution by the Trump Justice Department.
Okay. I see. We love... Tulsi Gabbard was the one who was obsessed with Snowden and stuff, right? Okay.
On this vote,
The yeas are 40, the nays 59. The motion is not agreed to. Okay.
We didn't stop Israel again. God damn it.
On this vote, the yeas are 40, the nays 59. The motion is...
How do they keep getting away with it?
That's almost a 2/3, isn't it? 40-59?
3/5.
Yeah, 3/5. Close. That is kind of weird, though, to be like, hey, let's not sell shit to Israel. It's like pretty, it's like a little BDS-y. A little bit.
Sure, but I mean, all the people that support that probably are pro-BDS, so...
I mean, that's like 80% of Democratic leaders you think support BDS or just arms sales?
Oh, no, for the arms sales. I'm sorry, I meant like of the people that like super fucking push for it, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was just... It's a little higher than you would expect from lawmakers. From the public, sure, of course.
Shrimp lies, you know? God damn it. Loker, can you liberty Israel keeps doing stuff closely less proposition? Well, you listen, you know. Feel what you want to feel. And let it burn bright, okay? Fuck that one. I will link this for the 4th time today. Then I'm going to click it.
Clear that he's learned all the wrong lessons. Not only did he cause the housing crisis in London, not only did he cause the worst inflation in the G7 when he was the bank governor over there, he advised Justin Trudeau to print money here, causing inflation. And since arriving in Canada, he's given us the worst food price inflation in the G7, the worst investment in the G7, the worst...
Hold up. Is that Mom Donnie? Maybe?
Housing costs in the G7, the worst household debt in the G7. So why doesn't he learn his lesson from all the failed economic experiments that only benefit insiders with tax havens like him and get rid of all the taxes on gas for all of the year?
Clapper.
Prime Minister.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Mr. Speaker, I feel like I'm in the presence of students. And on an exam, I don't think you would pass the exam with those answers. Mr. Speaker, as the IMF confirmed yesterday, Canada will have the second fastest growth in the G7 this year. As the IMF confirmed yesterday, we have the best fiscal position in the G7. Point final. As we have confirmed, we have the highest foreign direct investment per capita in the world. Here,
here. Here. Wow, that dude is freaking epic. What do you guys have going on tomorrow?
Same thing every day.
Really? What, until we die, slot. Dan? That's it? That's life?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Like Pinky and the Brain shit, you know?
Yeah.
You just keep going. Until at the end of the day, you're sleeping in fucking Glommer's bed. And he looks over and he looks at you and he realizes he fucked up. Shouldn't have sent that chat message. But it's too late.
Damn.
It's too late at that point.
Really not a fan of Mr. Glommers in chat now, huh?
I'm not.
Metal Gear Rising, Revengeance. Oh.
This game.
Bro, this shit is old as fuck. Too loud. Can't change the volume. Stay mad. Rage for patriarchy.
By the way,
yeah.
Why was it that the Biden administration did not reveal any Epstein files?
Because it was an ongoing investigation. That's why.
They had 4 years.
It's a simple answer to that question.
4 years? You didn't reveal a single file?
Simple answer to that question. It was an ongoing investigation. That's my understanding.
They
Piers,
couldn't reveal a single.
Like, yes, Piers. That's how investigations work. You don't typically reveal stuff from an ongoing investigation. I know you guys have all forgotten that since this administration is fucking crazy, but believe it or not, shrimple as, you don't usually reveal stuff about ongoing active investigations.
Relitigate Joe Biden's administration. Again, Piers, it was an ongoing investigation into Ghislaine Maxwell's
6 years ago, didn't he?
So I don't want to relitigate Joe Biden's administration. I want to respond to what's happening right now. You're not going to let anybody talk? Were you not, like, did you not get held enough as a child? Now, back to the TDS. It's not TDS to call out the fact that Donald Trump has betrayed his voters. Donald Trump has repeatedly betrayed his base. He has gone back on his promises. He said no new foreign wars. He said he would release the Epstein files, that there would be justice for the survivors. He said that he would lower prices. He said that gas prices would come down. He said he would bring back manufacturing. He said he would bring back jobs. None of those things have happened. It's not Trump derangement syndrome for Marjorie Taylor Greene or me, for that matter, to point out the fact that he is betraying his voters and he is not serving the interests of the American people. He is not putting America first. He's entangled in foreign wars. He's much more interested in getting himself a Nobel Peace Prize or a FIFA Peace Prize or whatever it is that he's seeking. And I think that it's incumbent upon all of us to have these conversations honestly about what is happening right now. We're entangled.
Let me ask
We're 7 weeks into this war.
If you're going to be honest, then stop obfuscating away from the fact that you haven't answered to why it is that Biden didn't.
It's so boring. Andrew is such a all these people are so transparently boring. It's always, I'm internally critiquing you, or I'm attacking Biden. It's never a defense of Trump. These guys will never, ever, 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 ever defend Trump on the substance. They cannot do it. They know that it is a morally bankrupt position to do so. Cringe.
You haven't answered the question.
Hang on, Joe.
We're not talking about Joe Biden. Who's the president right now? No.
You haven't answered.
You didn't answer the question as to why Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You didn't answer. Andrew, is your name Andrew? You need to let me finish, lady.
Okay.
Calm down.
You did not answer the question as to why Marjorie Taylor Greene said he broke their relationship over the Epstein files. Don't tell me to calm down. Dude, smoke your cigarette. Do not tell me to calm down. Why did Marjorie Taylor Greene say he ended their relationship because she wouldn't? Do not tell me to calm down. Dude, you sit there and smoke your cigarette. You're not answering the question about why Marjorie Taylor Greene said he screamed at her.
Chill out, lady.
Dude,
it's
you
my turn
need
to talk,
to
lady.
calm down. You've talked a lot.
Just
You interrupted the other gentleman.
Just relax.
Now, you need to answer the question as to why Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're not talking about Joe Biden.
Lady, it's my turn to ask the question.
Who is the president, dude?
This would be my
not your
turn
show,
to ask the
asshole.
question.
The show is Piers Morgan's show.
It's not yours either, bitch. So
it's not your show. The first question that was put before this panel was why did Marjorie Taylor Greene say that Donald Trump called her a traitor over the Epstein files?
Freaking epic when he owns on that one.
Why didn't Biden release anything on the Epstein files? That was the question you obfuscated away from.
Right now,
I'm pointing out your hypocrisy. Do you know what
hypocrisy? It's an internal critique. It's an internal critique. You feel the internal critique.
The president right now.
All right, given it is my show.
Are you okay?
Given it is my show.
The president right now.
He posted this clip thinking he's the one that looks really good here. That's crazy. Andrew told me as soon as he got done filming this that the low IQ retards who are stuck in the dialectical trap of thinking you have to pick either Israel or Iran, that you must support either Islam or Zionism, we're going to lose their minds over this and get it wrong. Judging by the comments, he was right. But as usual, you're going to find out that Andrew knows what he's talking about, and you guys were having a knee-jerk reaction to what you thought he said and not what he actually means. What the fuck did he even say? What? Did she retweet the right clip? Okay. Queen.